are live.
Oh, everybody, what's going on? Seems like it's Thursday night. Another week, end of the week, coming up on the end of the week, but another Thursday night here on the Fun Speculation Network. And you know what that means. It is PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. There's nothing like video game news to bring out a bunch of weirdos. And this week has been no different at all for a variety of reasons, which Mav and I certainly going to talk about. But man, gotta love just people continuously exposing themselves for the. I should say this. Everybody's a gamer, right? I've always said that. If you play on mobile, to me, you're a gamer, right? If you play Candy Crush, that's what you do. You're a gamer. But man, there's a whole lot of people in this community who promote themselves as, really, really into the hobby. Like we are here, really passionate about the hobby. And the game awards and these shows come along at the end of the year, and suddenly a lot of people certainly expose themselves for not paying attention to anything but one piece of plastic and AAA games only. I was shocked. Not shocked. I wasn't shocked. I was bemused by how many people didn't know a card game, Mav, that you and I promoted long ago. One that I still have yet to actually even dive into yet, but we were talking about this little game called Balatro a long ass time ago, Mav. And I was just bemused by how many people had never heard of this game before, Mav. Never ever heard of this game. But you're really into the hobby, and you have podcasts and you have shows and you tell other people how they should feel about video games and what they can talk about, and you gatekeep and you tell your audience that you're the only ones that know how to talk about these kind of, this industry in depth, and that other people out here are frauds and other people out here, cause misinformation and disinformation. But you don't even know what one of the game of the years is because it's an indie game that you paid no attention to because it wasn't promoted highly on your favorite platform and because it wasn't a AAA game. We'll talk again about who's passionate and who's not around here. So again, you're still a gamer in my book. I ain't gonna pull your gamer card because you didn't know what Balatro was, but gotta say, man, there's different levels, and you're at the beginning level if you don't even know what Balatro was until it showed up, and then y'all quick run and buy it real quick so you can go talk about it on your next show like you've known about it this whole entire damn time, huh? Yeah, I see you. I hope your audiences start seeing you too. But anyways, sorry, I had a little had to have that. That was been building up all week here, man.
Because out for the Pong rant.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's small, but it's the weirdo shit, man. It's the weirdo behavior that we've, come to expect, Mav, after doing this for nearly 4 years now, right? Being a part of this community for 4 years. It still just catches, like I said, it bemuses me at this point. It doesn't really surprise me, but it still catches me off guard some weeks too when this shit happens. And I'm just like, how do you have an audience? How do people take you seriously? I don't care how entertaining you are. When you promote yourself as not a clown, you promote yourself not for somebody that's there necessarily just to entertain your audience as a jokester, as somebody like that. You're there to actually inform, and that you are, the ones that people can listen to because you really do know what's going on. And then that slips underneath your radar. Like, really? It just goes to show that there's different levels to this, this whole thing. There's different levels to the passion. There's different levels to the hobby. But it's just weird, man. So anyways, good evening, everybody. Welcome to PM and the PM, Pong and Mav and the PM. Again, thank you all for joining us another fabulous Thursday night. Like I said in the beginning, we do have some things to get into. Man, we got Game Awards stuff. We've got a up and down week again for Xbox, depending on who you talk to. Mav and I have certainly got some thoughts. We got new games to play. We got a bunch of stuff. We got great second round of previews, obviously, to Avowed, which is what the thumbnail. Again, Caitlin, thank you for the beautiful thumbnail. As always, it looks great. So yeah, we're going to deep dive all that, but let's get to my co-host right now and let's see what he's been doing, because I know he has actually been playing a lot of games, especially some of the new ones we are going to talk about. And that's going to be kind of our intro here because I'm sure we'll kind of get into two of those big games this week that kind of had mixed responses. And who knows? We'll just flow with it. But
Yeah.
the CEO of the Fun Speculation Network, the one and only Mav, aka Fun Speculation. What's going on, brother? How you been?
Not bad, man. Been enjoying the hell out of gaming this week. This is a week I've been looking forward to ever since we knew what this week was gonna be with a couple big releases. These are games that been anticipating for a long time, right? With Flight Sim launching this week, Stalker 2. This week we also officially had the Game Awards nominees announcements also, so that was, interesting. We went through on FSP, I don't know if you saw, but we went through and we actually did a fun speculation vote during the whole show over all the categories between, Psycho and, 3-bit and Fuzzy and stuff, and it was a fun show, kind of our annual let's shit on the Game Awards nominees and the, crappy categories and all that kind of stuff. It was fun. But yeah, I think all of us knew what Balatro was. Um, and it's one that I absolutely I love that game. Like I spent a lot of time playing that game
Yeah.
this year. I played it on mobile, I played it on Switch, I played it um on Xbox. I even console streamed the shit out of it on my tablet. Like it's just I couldn't get enough. The game's it for me this year. Balatro was like if we could say Balatro, we could say
Balatro.
Balatro or
Yeah.
Balatro. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, it was like this year's Vampire Survivors for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just
Yep.
kind of like hooked, and
I actually asked you, Mav, if you remember
yeah,
when we started talking about the Game Awards a while back. I had asked you if you thought that was going to be up for Game of the Year because we do know that one indie game always slides in there, right?
yeah.
And
It was.
yeah,
I think it was between that or Animal Well.
yeah.
I knew Animal Well had a
Who would you want to?
lot of
I,
praise from a lot of people. I haven't touched it yet, but it looks gorgeous
I would have
too.
loved to seen
So
how many people didn't know what Animal Well was.
yeah. I think it was gonna
Yeah,
be between one of those 2.
yeah,
I'm super happy,
yeah,
for Balatro that it's there, but
yeah.
I thought overall, like, it's just interesting seeing all the
Mhm.
nominations and stuff. It's kinda expected in some ways, but, also surprising with some other but, yeah, this was an interesting week for gaming, man. I've been enjoying I know a lot of people haven't been able to enjoy Flight Sim,
Yeah.
especially it seems like maybe in the UK, there's more serious issues specifically in that region with people still being able to get in.
It's problems with the
Um,
cloud. A lot of problems with the
yeah.
cloud. So yeah.
For me, I've been able to get in mostly no problem. I had issues on launch day with the queues, right?
Hmm.
Especially at night when I was planning to do my stream. What I was thinking was going to be a 20-30 minute queue ended up being like an hour and a half, right? But I was able to play 3 or 4 times that day. That night, I played some more. I played, today,
Nice.
numerous times as
Are you
well. Played
doing
a little bit
career
last night.
or are you just doing freeform? What are you doing? Are you doing
I had a
career?
little bit of everything.
Okay.
Like, last night, in bed, what we did was we flew around town, and, my
Nice.
daughter was there hanging out
Yeah.
with us, and,
Yeah.
wanted to see if she could, like, take us to the local Chick-fil-A and see where she could if she could find the Chick-fil-A or see if she could find the movie theater, you know?
That's funny.
And it was fun just doing stuff like that. She could find everything, right?
Yeah.
It's cool. You can like just get out and walk around wherever you want, you know. So I've
Hmm.
been doing a little bit of free flights, a little bit of the photography thing. I've done a little bit of the career, a little bit of everything. I still haven't figured out how to do the like jobs. I'm wondering if that's part of the career that you
Part of the
unlock
career.
later.
It's part
Okay,
of the career. You got to
yeah.
open
So
up
I
your
have to.
licensing because you got to get your licenses for all those
Yeah,
different
I've
things.
been
Yep.
with the career, I've only done, like, mostly parts of the tutorial yet. I was doing some of that today.
Nice.
But yeah, overall, man, from what I played of it, it's been a hell of a time and an upgrade. I know not everybody has been able to enjoy it, so it's, that really sucks.
It
And
does.
played a lot of Stalker 2 since yesterday as well, and I've been having we'll talk more about each one of these, but having
Yeah.
some good time with that. And yeah, there's a lot of noise going around about a lot of these games and stuff. Some of it unexpected, a little for me. But overall, it hasn't really affected my enjoyment of anything. So But yeah, it's been a great week for games, man. That preview for Avowed that hit today,
Yep.
it raised my anticipation level for Avowed even more so. I was already one of my top games for 2025, and it's still like it's not gonna touch Fable for me yet, right? But
Right.
it's higher up than it was for sure. So looking forward to that. But we get to talk about all this stuff, man. Looking forward to the show.
Yeah.
And also more Call of Duty, man. Been playing some COD.
Fuck yeah,
It's awesome,
bro. It's
amazing,
phenomenal.
love it. While we were in the flight queue waiting
Yeah.
for flight sim on launch day, me and Kate ended up playing some of that on the stream too. Yeah, it's just man, there's so many damn games to play right now. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
there is. It is absolutely insane. Yeah, for me this week, well, I did finally prestige in Call of Duty. I got to my first prestige. Did that last weekend. Um, just doing pretty much. Steele and I had some runs. We played for a bit. I can't remember when we played. Sunday morning. Sunday morning. We played for like 4 or 5 hours on Sunday
Mhm.
morning, and then I finally prestige just doing solos. But yeah, that game is just phenomenal, and I gotta give a special shout out. This wasn't a topic tonight, but Treyarch, because Steele and I had while we were on Living Split Screen, they had put out the post about
The tokens.
the double XP tokens carrying over from Modern Warfare
Mhm.
3. And then it had, at first they had said it was a mistake and they're going to patch it out. Um, and the community went nuts, kind of, and said, "Yo, whoa, why? Why would you? It's double XP tokens that we earned from whatever in Modern Warfare. Why can't we carry them over? They're there. They obviously work. So why would you keep them?" Treyarch did the right thing right away. Back
Yeah.
down, put out a post Saturday while we were live on Living Split Screen right towards the end of the show, and saying that it had caused problems, but they were working on a fix. And guess what? They already got the fix in place. So the double XP tokens are back this week, which is fantastic because I got a bunch of them from Modern Warfare 3 that I never used. So that's really dope. But that game overall, I just got to give my hats off to Treyarch for listening to the community. Treyarch is on fire right now. Season 1 is fun as fuck. I'm loving the maps. The maps are really cool. I know not everybody's going to agree on the maps, but I really don't have a map that I hate, which is rare out of all of these. And I know, like I said, other people will. I just don't. I enjoy pretty much everything. And just so many of the weapons feel viable. Yes, there are metas. Of course, there are metas. But so many of them feel viable, even for a player like myself. And this is the most controversial thing I'll say about Call of Duty, something that Steele and I discussed last weekend as well. But for me and the player that I am, which now again is average at this age, whatever. I never was great. Okay. I never was that dude. But I would consider myself a little bit above average back in the day. But for right now, I'm average, especially because I don't play it all the time. Skill-based matchmaking works wonders for me. It's amazing for me. And again, I don't know what everybody else's experiences are like, and I've certainly heard a lot of problems. And obviously, I know when it doesn't work when we're playing with Jasper, when we're playing with Steel, And again, I get as part of the team get put into a much higher rank. I'm getting slaughtered, at the bottom 2 of every round. That's when it's unbalanced. But honestly, even Steel and I running together last weekend, just him and I, Mav, bro, we got into a good stretch. Yes, Steel was top 3 every game, usually top 1 or 2 every game. Let's be real. And then, but I was, middle bottom, just not bottom, but just right past the halfway point, like number 4, somewhere in that neighborhood. Almost every game, and it would adjust. And then I had a streak of 3 games where it had adjusted us down because I had a bad game or 2 and it adjusted us down. And then all of a sudden I was player of the game twice or 3 times in a row, but then it adjusted again because Steel was right behind me. It just works. So again, I know that's controversial, but for me, it actually does. It catches up. It only takes 3 or 4 matches at max. And all of a sudden I feel the adjustment and I'm right back to where I should be. And it feels great, man. I just love this game. Even when I'm not doing well, that's the key indicator when I'm not doing well and I'm still having a good time. So, yeah, Call of Duty for me is back. This is one of the best Call of Duties I played in decades. This is just hands down a great game. So that was that. Played some more Diablo. I'm getting through Vessel. I started doing the main missions again of Vessel Hatred. Like I said, last week. Not feeling it as far as story goes. It's not as strong as the original story, which it shouldn't be. Again, it's a side, it's an expansion. I get that. It's going to be hard to replace Mother, right? But I'm kind of disappointed in how they're translating the story. It's not as punchy to me. It doesn't have big moments for me. It did in the beginning, but it's really trailed off. But I'm getting towards the end now. And I'm almost done because I want to finish it because Path of Exiles 2 is coming, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later too, because I watched their stream today. Yo, it's over with. Anyways, so I'm trying to get through Vessel of Hatred, but having a good time with Diablo overall. It's just the story for Vessel of Hatred so far. I got to get to the ending and see how it actually ends. Just hasn't hit home for me, but still loving the game. Obviously 400 plus hours, 450 hours, whatever it is now. It's crazy time. And then Mav, like you, was waiting for, of course, Flight Sim. Had it downloaded, ready to rock and roll, pre-downloaded, ready to rock. Got off of work. I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna be great. I had heard the problems. I had obviously seen the problems people were having, but I'm like, they'll have it fixed by the time I get home. Log in, queue. Fuck. Okay, so I'm not gonna waste my time. So I just said, forget it. Woke up the next morning early, popped it on, and it was working. So that would have been yesterday morning, right? Yeah, yesterday morning. Popped it on, working. I went through the first training mission in the career, right? So I did the opening rounds and just did that. That's all I had time to do. Outside of the assets loading in being absolutely atrocious. I'm talking about planes with no landing gear, no wings, like sitting there, like
I'm wondering
ground disappearing. It was terrible. But
I wonder what causes that because I haven't. That's one thing I've seen people talk about, but I haven't seen that at all.
That's crazy because that is one of the biggest that's one of the biggest problems people are having. Jez wrote, I think it was Jez that wrote up an article for Windows Central on it. It's because that's why the gigs are down so far down. They put more of it up into the cloud. So it's streaming even more. And that's supposedly what's causing the problem is that delay is not great right now, that they're having problems with that. Obviously, they are saying, Asobo is saying, we didn't expect this many people to want to jump in right away. So obviously that's crushing things too as well. But, outside of that, once I got into the air, once I was flying, butter. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Again, career mode looks like it's going to be something. I was thinking I was going to jump in this for a little bit, but now I think it's going to be downloaded. And I'm just going to go and play this like every once in a while. I'm not going to become that dude that becomes a full-fledged pilot or anything like that. But that career mode looks fun as hell, like getting through the different licensing and all that kind of stuff and kind of picking your career path on what you want to do. And it was really dope. I got to say that Asobo, you guys didn't need to put a character creator in there, please. Like if you're not in 2024, my character creator shouldn't look like a PS2. And I'm not joking. You guys know I don't do that. It looks like a PS2 character creator. Like those people are so damn ugly. I saw Cog actually found a dude who looks like him. So congratulations, Cog. But bald guy, not hard to do, but he actually looked like Cog. So I was like, oh God, but I was trying to create anybody. It was terrible. But anyways, doing that and getting the pick where you choose to start from, and you got to choose, like you get choose like one of the minor airports. Like I chose a little airport in Florida over by my dad's house, just because it's beautiful down there. It's right by my dad's house. So I chose this little tiny airport to start from. And sure enough, there it is. Freaking awesome. I think I'm going to keep playing on this game and over time, and just especially with the gigs only being like, what is it, 40 gigs or something, like 38 gigs, something like that. I'm definitely planning on playing this for a while. So, but like I said, massive problems. Not going to excuse it. Maybe Mav and I will talk a little bit about that too when we get to it. But about the week that Xbox had, and then of course I did get into Stalker for an hour. Again, I'll save it because Mav and I are going to talk about it. But I did get into it for an hour. So, and I played on Series X. I'm downloading it right now on the PC. Did not get to try on the PC. I know Mav played both places, so I'll get his perspective on that as well. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I did play Stalker. Just say up front, we're back. It's Stalker, and it's back, and they so far freaking great. So I have zero problems with it right now. So, but we'll talk about it more when we get to it. But yeah, man, it's great to have new games in play. We are really overloaded. I am personally in games. I got to say too, Mav, real quick, I tried a little. There's so many of these on PC, so it's near impossible to come across them. But this one was on sale on Keyshop for nothing. But I read up on it. I had to get it. I played an XCOM game for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, Mav, an XCOM like game.
Yeah.
But it's set in the 80s Cold War.
Interesting.
So you can be Russian KGB agents or you can be on the European American side. But it's set up like XCOM. And it's spy missions, and you can stealth. You actually should stealth because it's running and gunning in this game ain't going to do it. But it's a full-on tactics game. It's called Phantom Doctrine. If anybody wants to check it out, I played that for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's dope. You got to send your people just like XCOM. You got to space out your agents in other areas because things will pop up randomly, and you got to have people there to take care of it. Otherwise, your threat level goes up. Again, if you love XCOM, check out Phantom Doctrine, especially if you're a fan of the 80s Cold War spy kind of secret agent era. It's PC only, of course, but man, is it freaking cool. So yeah, I played a little bit of that too as well. So yeah, that was my week, Mavo. Let me see here. Let's get into who's hanging out with us tonight. Let's see who's hanging out
Some
in.
awesome people here right now.
Of course, there's freaking amazing people every freaking night. We go live on Thursdays, man. Let me turn off my sound. Why do I hear myself? There we go. We got the C Unit. C Unit, what's going on, brother? C Unit, I owe you a DM, but of course you already know I'm in. So your question, yes, of course I'm in. I will get that to you. Don't worry about it. We got the Sea Lord of Bravos here. What's going on? Sea Lord of Bravos says, can't wait to get my ass kicked in Stalker 2. Yep, you'll die. You'll die a lot. It's fine. That's what happens in the zone. Don't worry about it. Decado, he says, it is very, very Stalker. Yes, sir. We are back. Don't know why everybody thought it was going to be different. Lore, Master Jasper's in the house. What's going on, Lore? Calling us from all the way from space, hanging out. Thanks, Lore. Appreciate you. And we got the brother from another Psychonauts who's not in space, but he is at GameStop in the front line. What's going on, Psycho? Good to see you too, my friend. We got Nathan Hardman. What's going on? He says it's Friday. I wish it was Friday. I'm glad it's Friday where you are, but not here. But we're getting there. We're almost there. We got the Depka in the house, who's always blessing my timeline with animated beauties. Thank you, Depka. I love the work you do, brother. We got Danny Passion Official. What's going on, Danny Passion? Great to have you joining the show as well. We got the one and only James in the house. What's going on, James? Thank you for joining us this evening. Still working on D4. Actually ran into a boss my wife and I had trouble with. Decided, I should say. Well, it says decoded, but I knew you meant decided to take a break. Good idea, James. Good idea. And I highly recommend any Diablo fans, please go watch the Path of Exile show today. That was on Twitch. You want to see a passionate team go to work? Go check that out. Eastside Vandal, what's going on? He said, I just finished a D4 DLC 2 days ago, and he agrees with me. Thank you, Eastside. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say it's a mixed bag for them as far as Vessel Hatred goes. The story is just a little bit lackluster. Again, I got to see the ending. A lot of people talked about the ending, so I have not spoiled it yet, but I do want to go check it out. Solid White 731. What is going on? Great to see you. Thank you for being here. Let me see here. We got Fuzzy Tomato in the house. Not to be mistaken for Fuzzy, our Fuzzy, right? But Fuzzy Tomato, he always shows up. Thank you, Fuzzy, for being here. Just loaded up COD, and half of my loadouts got deleted. Yeah, Solid White followed that up. I said, yeah, the update removed anything past the 5th loadout. Yeah, it did. It did. It sucks. You had to go back. But I was getting ready to, obviously, prestige anyway, so it didn't matter to me. Who else we got in here? We got the Poison Maniac, of course, dropping on by. What's going on, Poison? Thank you. We got the Refudge Gaming. What's going on, Refudge? Thanks for joining us, sir. I see you doing your thing every single day, man. I see you. You just get clipped so much, man. It's just amazing. And you get clipped more the more you talk about it. And yet you continuously talk about it because you know it brings you attention. God, it's a circle of life out here. And you guys all act like it's annoying and it's awful, but you guys are all part of the same toxic circle. It's freaking amazing. It's freaking beautiful. Mitchie dies a lot. What's going on, my friend? Great to have you in here. By Mitchie, I was scrolling through. Happy belated birthday to you. I did notice that, and I forgot to go back and post, but happy belated birthday. I did see that on my timeline as I was scrolling X the other day at work. Buzz, what is going on? Great to have you a part of the show as always, Buzz. Thank you for being here. Who else we got in here? We've got, see, I got Nathan, I got Mitchie going up. Jim Ryan's first party GoFundMe account. That's one hell of a fucking name right there, boys.
Yeah.
Jim Ryan's first party GoFundMe account. He says, Kay Asante and Black Viking introduced me to Balatro back in the summer. Yes, sir. Yep. That's awesome. I'm glad you found it too. Brett Bigham. What's going on, Brett? Great to see you in here. Who else we got in here? We got Silver Lab Guy comes on in here and says, hey, golden age of gaming. What a time. You got that right, Silver Lab. It is, man, for a lot of us, man. Never had this many games in the kid. Never, ever had a list of this many games that I want to play. Oh my God, it's crazy. Mr. Waffles, of course, is in here. What's going on, Mr. Waffles? Great to see you. We got the Isaac Hayes 85. What's going on, Isaac Hayes? We got the Nom Omar. What's going on, Nom? Great to see you joining the show. We got Marty McFly in the house. What's going on, Marty McFly? We got the BT Maverick 707. What is going on? He says, came in here. What up, stalkers? What up to you? Night Eternal, of course, jumped in here. And of course, really early on, it was Andrew Cullinane. What's going on, brother? Thank you for being a part of our show tonight and showing up here and showing love. Cyber Gunter, I see you dropping in here. We got Be Nice. What up, Pong Soul, Math Chat, and Gaming Nerds. Hell yeah. We love the nerds, man. We love the nerds. Oh, yeah, I see Matt posting comments up there. Mr. Waffle said, I find it very curious that Stalker 2 got dinged for performance issues, but Jedi Survivor didn't. Yeah, I posted in our DMs the VGC reviews because the VGC reviews were by the same exact reviewer for both of those games. One got 5 stars and one got 2 stars. Tell me how that works, man. Tell me why questions aren't asked. Consistency, man. Anyways, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. We got Calorie. Calorie, what's going on? We got the one and only 3-bit in the house. What's going on, brother? The man who is the reason for all of these problems, right? So if you had problems with Flight Sim this week, if you're having problems with Stalker 2 right now, you can blame it on 3-bit. You can totally blame it on 3-bit. It's all his fault. But thank you, brother, for showing up. You're a brave, brave man when everybody knows that you are the issue for everything in the world. Captain Crunch, one of my favorite cereals, is in the house. What's going on, Captain? Great to see you in here as always. Well, we got Jesse James in here, different from the previous just James. So we got Jesse James dropping in here. Says, I'm 10 hours into Stalker 2. Congratulations, Jesse James, putting in the work, man. I wish I had that much time to play that. I was almost thinking about taking a day off just to play some Stalker 2. But shout out to you, brother. Let us know where you're playing it at and how performance-wise, if you've had any massive loss of playtime, save issues, anything outside of just normal little irritating bugs. Because that's a good number right there. 10 hours into that game, that's a good number to kind of get somebody's thoughts. Antonio Newman, what's going on? Thank you for dropping in here. Great to see your name popping up. I think I've got everybody. Dragon, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. Hello. Hello, everyone. Great to see you. Dragon, appreciate you dropping in here. Masshole 1977, sup Pong, you nerd. That's right. Wear that nerd badge with pride, sir. Thank you, Masshole. Appreciate you dropping in here, though, brother. Always, man. Great to see you. All right. Let's get down to business here, Mav. So, I don't know, where do you want to start, Mav? I mean, we just got them talking about Flight Sim. We got talking about Stalker just a little bit. So let's just continue that conversation. We might as well just continue that conversation.
It's what the week was about, mainly.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. New games. We've been talking about this, Mav. Xbox, obviously, massive end of the year, right? Flight Sim. Yeah. For those of us that were interested in, obviously, a lot of people were interested in Flight Sim. Okay, again, people don't realize. I'm going to bring this up as like just a side note here. People downplay sim games as one of those genres like Mav and I always talk about. RTS is strategy tactics. Sim games are in there that always get downplayed by people when you bring it up. Flight Sim got downplayed. Whenever you bring that up as an Xbox first party title, it doesn't count, right? I just got to point this out real quick. Farm Simulator 25 sold 2 million copies in a week.
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2 has been out for over a year, sold 1.8 million copies. Okay. So why do we downplay sim games? Anyways, Flight Sim was a big release. Obviously, we had Stalker, which is not a first party release, but obviously a title that we've been waiting on for a long time due to obviously extenuating circumstances for GSC Game World. But obviously, this has been a big time release waiting. By the way, people on Steam not having any problems. Set a new record today for itself. 117,000 plus people played it concurrently on Steam. PC players are loving it despite what's being said, which we'll talk about here in a second. Number 2 seller for all day yesterday. So that was part of the big release. And then, of course, we got Indiana Jones at the end of the year, or December, I should say. But towards the end of the year, next month, we were supposed to have Avowed. Avowed got moved to February. We're going to talk about Avowed. But man, we had been waiting on these games, and obviously this week with both Flight Sim and with Stalker 2, you and I have been talking about it up to the run up. All of our shows pretty much have been talking about it. Like, hey, we got some brand new freaking games coming, man. This is the start of the end of the year run, both in Game Pass, of course. Like, we're getting set. Like, this is gonna be dope. And I gotta say, like, let's just talk about Flight Sim first, and we'll get into Stalker 2 because Stalker 2 is a little bit different. But Flight Sim, Asobo. I was thinking back to the release of Flight Simulator. When was it? 2 years ago now, right? 2 years? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 years. Okay.
Well, no, 4. 4 years ago. It's 2020 when Flight Sim came out.
Was it 2020?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No fucking way. Really?
2020, bro. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, this Flight Sim was 2020.
Okay. Anyways, okay, so 4 years ago, I was thinking back, Mav, and I was trying to remember what that launch was like. And I remember it being pretty damn good because I remember us talking about, you know, the amount of data that was being transferred, right? It was a big game, right? It was 100 and some, it depended what you loaded in, but it was like 150 gigs, 170 gigs, something crazy. It was a big ass game, but overall, like, pretty flawless. I think I remember like very little issues from most people when they loaded into Flight Sim. There was some, I do remember some login issues early at launch, some login issues that I think got worked out fairly quickly within a matter of hours. They were working on them and had them well worked out, but I didn't remember anything like that. So when I was expecting this game to drop this week, you know, I knew that there was going to be a lot of people playing it, but I didn't think Asobo was going to underestimate. They know how big Flight Sim is. They get all the data. They get all the numbers. Flight Sim is a big sim game. That's why it's been around forever, especially on the PC side of things. People love Flight Sim. Like, this is massive. So I didn't think Asobo would underestimate this. Obviously, they did move a lot of the game to the cloud, which we know can be still to this day sketchy. Because it just depends on a lot of different things being right to get the data transfer, especially when it's processing so much data like Flight Sim does already. And then you're asking it to download even more parts of the game on the fly to somebody who's playing it live. Like, okay, but you know, it's Microsoft. It's Xbox. It's Asobo. They got practice with this. Isn't it their first rodeo? Okay, well, they moved a bunch of stuff, got the install size down. So I had confidence. I'm like, okay, it'd be cool. But obviously, Mav, it wasn't a great launch. I mean, it just wasn't because the queue and then people getting stuck at 97%, even if it did start to load up, right? I saw Kay Asante posting about that as well. And it just wasn't a great launch. And it doesn't matter what type of game it is. That's not what you want. You know, first impressions are everything. The Steam reviews, it's the lowest rated game on Steam right now. I don't know if it picked up today since they fixed some of the problems, but I know as of yesterday, it had dropped below Overwatch 2 as one of the lowest rated games on Steam because, of course, it got review bombed. Now, again, the good thing about Steam people is if the game does get fixed, they will go back and they will change their votes. And you can see that rating go up and down. The Steam community is pretty consistent with that. But that's not good. Again, it's not what you wanted out of a first party title. You know, but like you said, Matt, things smoothed out. You've been playing it. I got in yesterday morning, no problem, outside of the atrocious load in, which again, it's not great at all. But Matt, just looking at this, like everybody wants to, of course, dance on Xbox grave. We've already had 3,000 different funerals for Xbox at this point this year alone. This year alone, you know, it's just these little things. And again, I'm not here complaining because it is what it is, but it's tech and it's the way they're doing this. But it's just like, I just would love to see a stretch run where everything falls Xbox's way just for a stretch run. And again, you guys know I don't even say that as a fanboy, but this is just as a gamer who does obviously this generation favor Xbox, just looks at that company and goes, for all the shit they've done, for everything they've gone through, yes, plenty of it's self-created, but man, this end of the year, Mav, I would just like to see them hit Flight Sim out the gate, hit Stalker. Stalker 2 is not really theirs. And again, for the people, we'll get into it. Stalker 2 is not really theirs, but just the hit Flight Sim, have Stalker 2 launch, right? And then end the year with Indiana Jones, roll into 2025 on that high note, right? Just roll into 2025 on that
right
massive
into Avowed, yeah.
Right, run right into Avowed, right? It is just kind of, it sucks. It just sucks a little bit to watch them go through this and to see this happen. And again, I don't know how much of it is in their control, how much of it's not in their control. I'd like to think from a tech company that it is in their control. But to you, Mav, what was the Flight Sim launch for Xbox? I mean, was it disappointing to you? Was it whatever? Because we kind of come to expect this sometimes. Like, how was it this week when you tried to load up? Because I know you were going to stream it that night, right?
Yeah. So first off, like earlier in that day,
Mm-hmm.
I just booted it right after it came out. I booted it up on the Series X in our bedroom.
Yeah.
And it just launched. Didn't have a queue,
Wow.
nothing.
Wow.
Played,
Okay.
worked great. I was like, okay, awesome. And I just kind of did some flying and there's free flight stuff. I did photography then.
Okay.
I remember the Taj Mahal or whatever the building was, and I went around and I was doing one of the photography missions, and I just tested that out, right? And just for like maybe like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Overall, at this point now, I have 10 hours in.
Wow. Damn. Okay.
Um, so that was my initial, right? Then I started seeing people saying they're having issues, all this other kind of stuff. Anyway, I wanted to play it on PC. And this was probably about like 4 or 5 o'clock or so. I went ahead and booted it up on PC. At that point, there was a queue. I was like, "What the fuck is this thing?" And I started hearing people talk about it, and apparently, like, they had come out and said some stuff about what's going on. Explained the issue on a community update video about something to do with the cache being saturated because they had done play load tests with stuff with 200,000 users and stuff, but like for whatever reason, like this was going and oversaturating the cache, and they were working on fixes and doing that stuff. And so they part of the temporary solution was to have these queues, right, to kind of like ease the load, right? But anyway, so I had loaded up. I saw the queue. I waited for about 20 minutes or so, just let it sit there while I was doing other stuff, and then it got in. I checked it on PC, and I was just flying around and doing awesome shit. I never noticed any of the other stuff people were talking about. I never had a issue when it started to load, it loading, right?
Okay.
All
Yep.
the way. It
Yep.
seemed to be pretty smooth and fast. Well, actually, with the loading process, comparatively to 2020's flight sim, it's a lot faster for me, right? Um, but I never had any issues with that. Again, I can only speak from my experience, right?
Right. Right.
Um, got into the game, played it, was wowed by the graphics on my PC on the ultra wide in front of me. I was like, my eyes were just popping out of my skull, but I knew I was about to do a stream.
Right.
I had to go do some things, and I was like, well, it took me about 20, 30 minutes for the queue. Stop it. We went and did some things, came back. Booted it up about 20 minutes before my stream, right? At this point, it was getting to like 7, 8 at night, and obviously a lot more people are getting home and trying to boot up the game. And so for the stream, at that point, I was like, it started to get like 30 minutes into the stream, 45 minutes into the stream, an hour into the stream, and it was still in the login queue. I ended up retrying the login queue like 3 times
Mm.
And after the 3rd time, it was only like 5-10 minutes, and that after that last time I got in, and we ended up streaming Flight Sim for maybe like an hour or so on the stream, so we still did get to play it. I didn't have any issues then as well until I did have a
Nice.
crash, not my
Sure.
one of my own crashes,
Yeah.
but, I towards the end of the stream, I was landing, and then the game crashed, right? And, happens on PC, and it happens with new games all the damn time. So when that happens randomly, I don't ever freak out too much about it. But I wasn't about to go sit my ass in the queue again,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, but then that night, I booted up on the console in the bedroom again. I waited about 5 minutes for the queue and got in. Didn't have any issues, and we played for a while. So, overall, like the most annoying thing was the queue, especially that one time when I was actually trying to stream it,
Yeah.
you know? Um, but I know also like maybe there could be something to like regions, with this. Also parts of the world you may be in, internet, your own internet connection, what other people may be doing on your internet. Because one thing that I saw is that this game does take a lot of bandwidth, supposedly. So for all the asset streaming, so maybe if you don't have a lot of bandwidth or free bandwidth, or you're doing other things, maybe it can be not as good. I'm not sure because my experience with all the other stuff has been fine, right? Comparatively to 2020, I've noticed better in almost every regard for me with Flight Sim 2024. The graphics are better, the frame rate's better, it's smoother on console, it's better. On PC, obviously, has been absolutely amazing. Um, I w- Another thing I noticed because we've been flying around my town a lot and stuff too, is that it's a lot more updated as far as the satellite when the satellite imaging and stuff that they did.
I saw
There's
people talking about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a brand new building that they just built right next to our neighborhood, a huge monstrous building that's just finished maybe like 4 months ago, right? And it's there, you know? So, they have that, like, overall getting out and walking around. You have the free cam thing where you can go. One thing that me and Kate did that night after I streamed, we went and uh we're looking for Disney World in Florida because we just wanted to see what it looked like over the park. We ended up accidentally finding Universal Studios instead. And we flew around looking at Universal Studios. Then we found Disney World and we're flying around there. Just like just random stuff like that, man. It's like it's been absolutely awesome, checking out all the things. We tried what's the with the parachute and you got the big ass fan on your back, paragliding? Is that I don't know what that
Yes.
so we did a little bit of that. My daughter's been playing some. We did helicopters, did numerous kinds of planes. I also tried to find some giraffe in Africa to take pictures of.
Yeah. How did that go?
I ended up wandering around the wilderness on foot for a really long time because I
How
crashed my
far
plane
can you
into a
go?
house. You can go everywhere. You can just walk endlessly.
That's crazy.
It
I
was.
thought it was limited areas. Like I really did.
I no, I can get out in my neighborhood and just walk around and I can walk around wherever I want to go.
Okay.
I
That's
can
dope.
just keep walking. And it took me a while to realize right trigger was sprint. So I
Sure.
was like walking slow. Your guy kind of walks like somebody said in the chat, like a Minecraft character, like if you look at the shadow, he's like,
Right, 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 right. Again,
but
yes, it's Soba. I wasn't expecting the world here, but it's still
but
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, I like it I walked up to a herd of some yaks that I found instead of the giraffes, and I walked right up to them, and they're just like, "There's a herd of fucking yaks here," and
I
they're like
wonder
detailed and stuff. I was like,
I
"It's
wonder if you could
crazy,
walk
man."
to an airport and take a plane.
You take a plane, a different plane.
Right.
I don't know. That would be insane. Yeah, I don't know, man. But like my experience with Flight Sim has been better as a game than 2020 by far, right?
Okay.
A million times better in numerous areas, but I understand that's not the same for everybody. I understand that a lot of people haven't even been able to play it,
Yeah.
right? Or they're having those things where it crashes after you're up to the 98% loaded, or
Yep.
you're stuck on the loading, or or all those kind of things. So I'm not sure. Like, I think part of it is because there's not many games out there that are trying to do everything that Flight Sim's doing, and most of it is being loaded from the cloud now, right? As opposed to the last game that most a lot of us still loading from the cloud, but you look at the file sizes on the games, right? And this game's even more detailed, but the size a lot smaller. So I imagine that the amount of data they're pulling to fill everything is a lot more internet based. And I think that's what's causing a lot of the issues where a lot of different people are having different problems, right? But yeah, it's not a good look on launch day to have all that. And I
Yeah.
just can't speak to like exactly what somebody else is experiencing, but overall, my experience has been for the most part great. The only thing that sucks is that I was affected by the queue on launch day. If it wasn't for the queue on launch day, like I would say this is like have had really zero issues except for like a crash or two,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? But overall, man, I've been kind of blown away by it, to tell you the truth.
Well, obviously,
Like,
got 10 hours in.
yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of ass time. If
Well,
Flight Sim,
some of that might have been the queue on launch day too. I
sure.
don't know if like a out if that counts towards it, but there was like an out, maybe a little more than an hour on launch day.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I mean, I think just you know, hearing your experience, obviously, again, it I just tried, and the minute I couldn't, I was just like, okay, well, I just
Yeah.
got to move. Was I disappointed? Yeah, I was disappointed, and a lot of people were disappointed. And like I said, the Steam, it's just not it's not a great thing to have it happen. And again, there's plenty
Oh,
of
for sure.
games to
Yeah.
play. This isn't one of those situations, right, where we've had nothing to play and we were all sitting around waiting for Flight Sim to show up. It's not like that. But I'm just saying that in general, it's just one of those things that I just wish would go
Would have
the
been
right
amazing
way.
if it was like
Yeah,
great smooth launch.
I
Yeah.
just wish it would go the right way. Damn it, for Xbox. I really
Yeah.
just did. Like I said, the Steam people will come back around as long as they get it fixed. Flight Sim is a big, huge game, especially on PC.
Oh,
It's one
it's
of those
insane,
things.
dude.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And from what I played, like I said, just looking, I haven't played it as much as you by any stretch, so I can't talk about the game in general, but just looking at that career mode, because that's exactly what I went for right away, and seeing how they had split it out and what you had to do to be able to move on. You had to
Mhm.
get certified, get your licenses, which they had some of that in the original game. But when we were talking about Flight Sim, this new one, once we found out this was going to be a standalone, and no, this was an actual new game, and then we saw the trailers, man, and we all caught on that they had gamified Flight
Mhm.
Sim, right? Because that was one of the big deals too for people who dismiss it all the time. Well, it's not actually a game. Oh, bro, come on. Of
Yeah,
course
like,
it
well,
of course
farming,
it
what do you
is.
call all the other
Right.
simulators?
Of course it is a freaking
A
game,
couple years
man.
ago, I was power washing
Right,
everything, you know?
right, exactly. This is sim games, man. Sims are games, man. This isn't real life. You are playing a game. But anyways, when we figured that out, my eyes, especially, I was like right away, I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna download this because I don't need it to be game. I enjoyed Flight Sim the way it was. And
Mhm.
4 years ago, as Mav just told me again, I can't believe it's been 4 fucking years. I can't believe that. Anyways, I think it's such a chill ass game. If I didn't have a billion things to play, like I would love to play Flight Sim. I say that about a lot of games, but that truly is the way it is. Like I love the chill atmosphere of flying, but now that they gamified it, man, and seeing it in action, right? And seeing that you have money and you earn money for doing things and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Like that gets me even more excited, man. It really does. Cause I'm looking at this going, okay, got challenges, which you had in the first one, but I'm saying you got specific challenges that you have to go through to progress your career mode. You could kind of choose how you start your career, where you want to start your career to learn all these different opportunities if you want to. You don't have to learn all these opportunities. But I just think that Asobo did a freaking fantastic job taking a look in the mirror, taking a look at what people said about Flight Sim, understanding that they have an opportunity to adapt Flight Sim and evolve it a little bit. Because again, it's always been a sim, and they still have their hardcore sim game, but they had a chance to evolve it here. And for Microsoft and Xbox to say, "Yeah, go ahead and do that," because again, this wasn't a just copy and paste deal. They did change stuff, like Mav said, and they updated a lot of stuff at the same time. But to get the green light to do this, I think it's fantastic. I just wish that launch day again, because they moved Avowed, and we'll get to Avowed, but because they move Avowed, and the only reason why they moved Avowed, according to Phil, multiple times now, he's doubled down on this, was because there were so many games here. I would have just loved to give it a Sobo the extra time, since it looks like Avowed has been ready. and give Asobo the extra time to get this right out the gate, because it is kind of a new, an evolved, game for them that they've never really done before, gamifying flight sim. So I just would have loved to see this come out right. Again, I don't know how much was just tech, and we all know tech is whatever.
Yeah.
It's imperfect at best, especially when you're dealing with the cloud, whatever. I just wish it would have had a better launch. And again, for Xbox's sake, I just really wanted to end this year just hit on its way out. And again, that's just, the gamer and me just looking at it going, come on, can't we have a stretch run here, man?
Mm-hmm.
We just got through another, the 3,000th death of Xbox this year already. We just held the funeral because of Phil's no red line comments. Can we just nail these games on the way out of this year?
It definitely seems like this one too, like, just overall, it's one of these games where we've seen before where everybody's experience with the technical issues is kind of different. Like,
That's what it is.
a lot of people saying they just can't get in at all, right? They haven't been able to even play, like, and they've tried numerous times. This guy, like, if you buy a game, that's one of the most frustrating damn things that can ever happen.
It is.
Right? Like, you buy it or whatever, you've been looking forward to it all year, or if you just, let's say you're somebody that's been waiting and you subscribe to Game Pass for this game, and then you get home and you just can't play it after a long day of work or whatever, right? That's the most frustrating thing that can ever happen to you when you buy something,
Right.
right?
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is. If you buy something and then it's not working, it's just frustrating,
It
right?
is.
I think that with this game, there's a lot of technical stuff that they're doing that's really never been done before, right? The closest thing would have been their 2020 launch, and I think the game as a whole wouldn't exist in the way it is and what it can be without all that tech, right? Without all the things they're doing, because we've never seen a game like this except for
No.
2020, but this one takes it even further,
Yeah.
right? With the detail and everything. So I think, like, overall, it's just the challenges of kind of new technology and what they're doing. I have ultimate faith in them that they're going to get everything worked out. They've already made a lot of strides since then, but they got some more work to do to get everybody's experience being good. I would say if you have a shitty internet connection,
Yeah.
it's probably something you might wanna, sit on for a little bit and kinda see, just from looking at the comments and everything. And I think also, like, from people in the, that I've seen in some of the comment threads and stuff like that, it seems like I said before, certain specific regions are having more issues than others. Where numerous people in the UK said they've never been able to even launch the game or can't get in. But,
Yeah.
like, for me, I just ran down my experience, right? And, um, it hasn't been that big of a thing. The only thing was, like, the login queue on launch day. So, I'm hoping that that gets, resolved for everybody, and, the people can enjoy what I'm experiencing. Right? Because if people can enjoy what I've been experiencing with this,
Yeah.
like, it's like, it's pretty damn mind-blowing.
Well, that's what's crazy is because, and I think it's going to depend on what area you're in and stuff, whether or not things have been updated. Because I saw some people in the chat saying it doesn't look like it's been updated, or it's been updated, like, but only a couple years ago. So I think it's going to depend on that. But just, I've heard a lot of people like you, Mav. And again, I only played that through that one
Yeah.
part, so I haven't gotten a good look. But a lot of people have said that the graphics are actually
Oh,
upgraded.
yeah. It
And
also
to me,
runs
that's
smoother on
nuts.
console too.
Right.
It
And
runs smoother on Series X.
that's nuts to me.
Yeah.
Because if you ever went and looked at the screenshots, even from the console version, even from the Series X, even from the Series S version. Now, again, when you get close to the ground, that's when things get funny, but the game wasn't made for that. Although now you can climb out and take pictures. So obviously they had to update some of that stuff. But I'm just saying, in general, if you were flying up above, some of those screenshots when Flight Sim first came out in 2020,
Yeah.
look like pictures, like the photorealistic. Like, and so for people to say that that's been updated even further is nuts to me, man. So I can't wait to dive back into it and get to see a little bit more of that. Again, hats off to Asobo. It sucks. And again, I'm not even talking about the clown show. I don't care that a bunch of the clown show gets to come out here and go, oh, here we go. See, can't do anything right. Can't do anything right. I don't care about that shit anymore. I just really don't. I'm just saying in general, just for the Xbox, family, just for the people who were excited for Flight Sim, which there is a ton of people. I just wish it could have gone off without any hitches. But overall, I get it. They're not. It's not an abandoned game. They're gonna fix it, and it's already being fixed. I've already seen a ton of people hopping back in and going, "Shit, this is freaking awesome." And I think this is, this day will be kind of forgotten. I just really wanted it for Xbox to hit right, but it's looking good now that they're starting to get things a little bit patched up. So that was the first game this week, Mav. Now let's talk about something that's.
I should have had this up when we're talking, but
yeah.
I wanted
Oh, did
people
you
to
have
see
it?
some of the
Yeah,
gameplay.
yeah,
That
you had the gameplay.
This is from my stream the other day.
Were you doing jets? You were doing jets? Or
This one was just a jet. This was Tokyo.
Okay.
I was just flying around Tokyo.
Oh,
right?
beautiful, man. Beautiful.
It's just like gorgeous, right? This was on the PC.
Yeah. It's crazy that this is a game.
Yeah.
I still have a hard time sometimes. It's nuts. Like, I know, like, it's not, like I said, you're not actually going deep into the city. It's not street level stuff, but just for them to have this level of detail is crazy. I saw somebody going through the New York boroughs again from the overhead shots and like literally be able to point out their apartment building. Like, and it's legit because obviously New York, they got tons of work on, but that is just, oh my God, it's on another level.
There's like a flying around the jet.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I did on the stream. I did, this was like the opening of the career. And, okay, so there's that. This was in Africa, right?
Yeah.
So I want to show you the walking around. Okay, that was me crashing. Yeah, so here you are. Here I am just walking around Africa.
It's freaking gorgeous, bro.
Like just on foot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, for Sobo,
find the yaks.
Where you got the picture of the yaks?
Yeah, I got there they are. There's the herd of yaks right there. I was like, are those animals?
Sir was in your chat going, "You walking like Minecraft." That was right in the chat. I saw it just pop up there. That's funny as hell. Look at that.
See the arms on the shadow of him walking.
Yeah. It does. It looks like you're right.
Yeah, I was like, these aren't giraffes, right? But I found some yaks or whatever those things are. I think they're yaks.
Water
this
buffalo.
Is before I learned that
those are water buffalo.
Water buffalo?
Yep, those are water buffalo.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, look at that. I mean, again, for a game that didn't have any of this, for a team that's never done like land stuff, in Flight Sim, that's not what Flight Sim's about.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn dope, man. I thought there was going to be very specific areas that you could land. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere. That's really cool.
You can get out anywhere. It's pretty crazy, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, I just wanted to show you, this has been my experience with Flight Sim. I mean, like for the most part, it's been like running great. Oh
my God, you just kicked that water buffalo in the head.
Yeah, kicked him in the head.
No, that's really cool, man. That's great because I haven't really seen a whole lot of that shit. It'd be great if lions came out and attacked you, though. If you had a full fledged,
yeah, you actually run, you get a gun. It's like Flight Sim survival,
Flight Sim hunter.
Crash land wherever you want on Earth. And
that's their next step. That's their next step, bro.
It's like the show Alone, but you like fly there and crash.
Yes, you got to hunt down humans. Then a Sobo goes really dark.
Go cannibal. How far are you willing to go to survive?
We need mods. Where's the modding community? Now that you can land and now that you can get out, mods can go hog wild on this game. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's get a full-fledged hunting game going, survival game going. Let's do it. Look at that city at night. Jesus. It's absolutely gorgeous, bro. God, the nighttime flying is just absolutely amazing, man. The best was in 2020 on Flight Sim. I took a flight from, I think, Cairo in Egypt, and I flew across the water, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what sea was I flying across. I can't remember what sea it was I was flying across. Anyways, but flew across, and for a while there, it was right at sunset too. So you got the red strip and the red and orange strip of the sunlight right at the edge, right at the outer world, right? Because I was flying high, and then there was nothing because I was over water, and then it was like an hour and a half. It was real time flight, obviously, because that's what Flight Sim is about. And all of a sudden, you could see the land appear, and you could see the city lights coming up like way on the horizon as you were getting closer to the land on the other side of the ocean. Bro, it's so cool, man. It's such a great feeling. Even it's sitting on autopilot and just chilling out.
Yeah.
I love this game. I really do.
Yeah, like, I noticed I was looking at the constellations too
Yeah.
when I was flying around, like, I could see Orion's Belt and
Yep.
Taurus and,
Yep.
like,
It's
Little
legit.
Dipper, like, everything, man, it was crazy.
It's legit. I love it. Oh, Dallas Fort Worth. There we are.
Yep,
Flying into
yep,
Dallas.
yep. I will say, speaking of Dallas, like, one
Yeah.
thing I wanted to check is look at downtown at
Yeah.
night because downtown Dallas is known for the lights on the
Mm-hmm.
buildings. Like, they can change color, they got Reunion Tower and all these different things, and they do a lot of cool stuff. But, as far as what I could tell when I got closer, even at night, they still didn't have all the lights on
Not all the
downtown
lights.
Dallas,
Yeah.
yeah. But they didn't have any of the light. I just saw a bunch of tall, blacked out buildings.
Okay.
So, that would be nice. Hey, Flight Sim, Asobo, put some respect and love on downtown Dallas, please. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh man. Someday they'll be able to do all of it. It'll be just crazy, man.
Yeah.
It'll be nuts. God, that's beautiful. It makes me want to go play right now. I love that game. Hey, Dreadpool. What's going on, Dreadpool? And I see you, Spooky. The Moon Man's in here. What's going on, Spooky? Ray Oid, I see you jumping in here as well. We already did the shout outs, but I gotta shout out some people jumping in here late. Force One Vlogs, what's going on? He says, any dog fighting in Flight Sim? Nope, not yet. Nope, you're not gonna get any dog fighting. Gotta go play Ace Combat for that. That's what Steel said. Steel's like, Flight Sim's not for me. Go and play Ace Combat if I want to. Ace Combat's still the ultimate dog fighting game. Gotta love that game. All right, so Mav, let's talk about the other game this week then. And this is a little bit different beast in a couple ways, and we were starting to talk about it in the background a little bit, and of course that's Stalker 2. And like I said, I played for an hour last night, and I kind of cut myself short because I knew we were going to talk about Stalker 2. So let's just talk about the game in general, what you and I have experienced. Because now, again, I'm gonna do mine first, but I'm gonna let Mav take it too because he's played on PC and Xbox, and I kind of want to get his opinion on both of those, and some comparison or whatever the case may be. But my hour into Stalker 2 last night on Series X. Again, I'm downloading it on PC as we do the show. So I'll be checking it out on PC sometime here. My first hour with Series X was a lot like my first hour with Cyberpunk. What I read in the reviews, right, from people that had played the preview, or the old build, I should say, not even the preview build, but the original build without the day one patches. What they were describing when I was at work and I was reading through the reviews, I was like, okay, all right, so we might run into some problems. Again, there's some reviewers that I've got a handful of reviewers that I go to. ACG said he can't recommend the game right now in the state that it's in, right? He said that the patches didn't cure all the bugs or a lot of the bugs that he had pointed out in his review. And ACG is one of my top go-to guys because I know he does it right. He doesn't bullshit, runs a high-end rig on PC. So I'm like, okay, ACG saying it's not great, probably not great. So it was a lot like very similar to what we heard about Cyberpunk. Now, of course, they don't have the last gen version like Cyberpunk did, which was the massive problem. But if you guys remember, it wasn't just the last gen that obviously was getting shredded for Cyberpunk. It was current gen consoles as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the PC, while the reviews were generally good for Cyberpunk, is because everybody was playing on PC, and of course, the PC just powered through it. So I just went into this last night. I was like, cool, not a problem. You guys know me. I'm a AA player from back in the day. I like my indies. I like my AA. I don't mind jank. Bugs don't bother me like they do most people. The only thing I don't want to do is lose game time, right? So I'm like, and I heard there was some save problems. I heard some people were losing save files. I've heard there's been some, crashes that where you do lose game time. I'm like, okay, let's go try it. So had it downloaded, got home last night, popped it on. I gotta say, my first hour is just like my Cyberpunk playthrough. The first day one, without any patches, that I played on Series X on Cyberpunk 2077, where I went. Don't know what everybody's got going on, but I don't have any of it going on. I heard the gun. I heard people, a lot of people talking about the guns being off, both sound wise. I heard there was automatic aim drift that The aiming was horrible. I heard a lot of people complaining about that, read a lot of people complaining about that. Zero problems last night. Zero problems. And again, I'm only an hour in. Don't get me wrong. I understand how this works. Obviously, sometimes the further you get into a game, the worse it can get. We're going to find out. But for my first hour, the game felt and played like Stalker. I played the original Stalker, right, on my buddy's PC back in the day. I've had a fascination with Stalker ever since that point. Played the Metros, right? Talked about this. Told you all, a lot of people complaining about the difficulty, or if they're not complaining about it, they're just going, whoa, I did not know it was going to be this difficult. That's why I was on all of our shows telling you all, when you go into Stalker, this is a survival game. This is not like, it's not even, Metro does a nice job being a Stalker type clone in a lot of ways because of a lot of the original team members being there, but it's not to the level of Stalker. And I thought, because GSC Game World kept saying that we're going to bring the original parts of Stalker, including the difficulty, into Stalker 2, I was like, okay, well then everybody needs to be ready, especially if you haven't played it, because it is different. It's a different level. I found that to be spot on. I'm playing on Stalker level, so I'm not playing. I'm playing on the normal level. I'm not playing on easy, but I'm not playing on. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm already borderline here on some of the horror stuff. Thankfully, I got enough weapons right now, but first hour in, I'm over encumbered because I'm keeping everything. That's normal for me. Figured that was going to happen. That's spot on. I made my post. I got chased by an invisible entity that I could not shoot. That's normal Stalker shit off of a boat. I had to run for my life. I tried to find him, but I couldn't. He was throwing shit at me or hitting me and not appearing. So I was like, okay, well, yep, this is one of those anomalies. We got to come back here later. So I ran away from him. I've already died once because I panicked. Again, Stalker is not a run and gun. You can't play Stalker like Call of Duty. I saw somebody's video today. Shout out to Refudge, who's in the chat right now. I saw somebody post a little clip of that gameplay where we're gonna play this like Call of Duty. That ain't gonna work. That's not how Stalker plays, everybody. You've got to conserve animal. You've got to be stealthy. You've got to be careful. You got to be aware of your surroundings, and you've got to take advantage of your surroundings. And all of that's there, Mav. Now, I haven't gotten any of the NPCs. A lot of the reviewers I read said the NPC side content is really, really well done. The consequences and decisions that you can make in this game, which I talked about at length when we were coming up to this launch about what the original game was like, it's all supposedly there. So that I can't wait to get into. But my first hour so far, I had 0 bugs, 0 crashes, 0 problems with any of the things that a lot of people were saying were happening right out the gate. So for me, so far, so good. I wasn't expecting a AAA, $200 million game here. That's not GSC Game World, and it certainly is not GSC Game World in the middle of an actual war going on in their country. Okay. I again, when I heard that some of the previews, shout out to Jez, talking about how polished this game was, that's why I was like skeptical of it. And I said, if it turns out to be that way, I will be shocked. But I thought the scores could be in the mid 80s if they actually got it polished. So when the reviews came out and I saw it wasn't polished, I was like, okay, yeah, didn't expect it, right? Again, didn't expect that kind of level, especially with everything happened. This is exactly what I was expecting. This is right in line with what I thought I was going to get out of Stalker 2. It is going to get patched. It is going to get fixed. Steam PC players, again, over 100,000 concurrent players again today. Almost an 80% approval rating on Steam. The PC players get it. I saw it's Alex making some comments about the game too as well, that maybe some reviewers out here got things wrong just because they're not used to a game like Stalker nowadays. It's true. It's a throwback game to a bygone era. But I think it's freaking fun as hell. It's everything it's borderline on that horror. You guys know me and horror. Ducato made mention of it on X today. You give me enough guns, you split it up a little bit with some human normal enemies. But there was a couple times last night where I was like, am I really gonna do this? Because I was getting really tense in real life, and I was like, oh man, I don't know. But this is the game. So far so good. Stalker is what I expected. I would like to see the scores be a little bit higher. Again, it's kind of disappointing that this game, and again, the people saying, "Oh, Microsoft pushed this out the door." Microsoft had no control over the publishing on this. Okay, this was GSC's call on this one. Okay, completely 100%. They obviously needed to get the game out. I don't know how much longer that studio could have survived. Microsoft's been helping them. We know that financially and with resources while they've been dealing with all the shit that's going on in Ukraine, and they're half their team being one area, the other half being in another area. Some of their team members, unfortunately, losing their life on the front lines. Like, the fact that this game out is a miracle. I've said that since day one. I would have liked to see this delayed and have Avowed instead, too, as well. But obviously, GSC had to get this game out to the wild. They probably were running out of money at this point because it's already been delayed so much. They had to get the game out. And again, from what I played so far, it's not bad at all. Like, I haven't had the issues. So, I don't know. I just think it's going to be better. Now, Mav, for you played both PC, you played Series X. I don't know how many hours you got between the two, but you got a different perspective because you have tried on both the platforms. What are your thoughts so far on Stalker 2? And what are you feeling overall about the game? Obviously, if you want to add to what I had to say,
Yeah.
because I don't think you ever played the original Stalker, right?
I've never played a soccer game before.
Cool. Did you play
Right.
Metro series at all?
I did, but I wasn't
Okay.
as into Metro.
Sure.
I hate changing those damn charcoal things and stuff like that. And like I just there's certain things that just kind of like annoy me with some games, but
Okay.
like overall, like
Yeah.
Metro, it didn't click for me as
Sure.
much as I had thought it would,
Perfect.
but this one is.
Perfect. Roll into it because that's what I
Yeah.
want to kind of lay the groundwork there because that's a good perspective too, as somebody who did not have, obviously I got nostalgia for the old one, so I'm already kind of positive with GSC
Mhm.
Game World. So you're kind of rolling in fresh off of that. You kind of understand what it is because you played Metro, but you've never really played a soccer game. So go ahead. What are you thinking about this game, and
Yeah.
what do you think about the launch and some of the? Is it a cyberpunk situation right now, Matt? Do you think there's a little too much, or is it just one of those games that everybody experiences something different, like we were talking about? Even if it's on the same system, one person can have problems, the other person can't, doesn't have any problems. What do you think this is really going on right now?
Right. So like I had in my idea what this game was gonna be like in my mind, right? And I'm not one that like overdoes it with game previews and searching for every detail and stuff because I kind of like to go into games without as many expectations. I just kind of like to kind of know what's the vibe of this game, what am I doing, kind of, and like what genre is it in, how does it look, that kind of basic stuff, right? Um, so as far as like expectations. I'm not going in with any kind of super set expectations, but I have like a general idea what is this game going to be like? How is it going to look? And how is it going to play? I'll tell you, like, it's matched my ideas in my mind like almost 100% of what I was going to experience playing Stalker 2. So I was pleasantly happy with that because sometimes you play a game and like it just doesn't feel right or just like doesn't look right or like it's like, oh, this is like ruining my experience or whatever. And it feels like I thought it was gonna feel. It looks like I thought it was gonna look, and it overall the world is kind of what I thought it would be too, man. Um, but even better so in some scenarios. And I'm gonna talk specifically about highlights for me, right? First off, the one of the highlights is like the beauty of the world that you're in, the environment, and it's super engaging. Like it looks like it's kind of living, right? But dead at the same time because where you are. But there's always something that looks like, oh, what's in there? Right? What's over there? I wanna know what's in there, and sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised, or sometimes you'll find nothing, right? Which is pretty awesome. It's what I like about these kinda games. And this is my kinda game entirely, especially after you get past the opening sequence and you're kinda in the open environment, like, "Oh, shit, I shouldn't have gone there."
Did you notice the Bethesda step out moment, by the way, too?
Yes. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I was like, this is so Bethesda. It's great. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
It
there's
was
a
awesome.
lot of, like,
Yeah.
those kinda elements you mentioned Bethesda, like, in this game, and I love it. The brutality of it, the difficulty of it makes you have to be careful and think about what you're doing. I love that about this game. I love that you can't just, like, run around just willy-nilly and and expect everything to be good because you're there to try and survive this environment and find answers and do all these different things. Um, man, the choices. By the way, I'm like 4 hours in. Okay,
Okay, good.
so
So yeah, you are to that point where you're gonna start seeing.
yeah, I've definitely had to make some decisions already, right? With some of these quests, and some of them are optional, and some of them you have decisions on what you want to do, and you can go one way or another, and then there's ramifications to whatever you choose. I've met several different characters already that have unique personalities. That there's a whole backstory behind why they're there and what's going on, and I've already double crossed somebody. Like, I mean, like all those kind of things, like are true with like traditional like Western RPGs, right? But I'm experiencing that now in this game, which is not. Is it? I don't know if this is considered technically a RPG or what, but it feels like it to me. Like, if this feels like I'm playing, like, a open world, survival RPG kinda game because the decisions you're making, ramifications, all those kinda things, really matter here. They take all those elements that are important for a lot of those kinda games and give it to me, right? So graphics, seen some people say it has shit graphics. I thought the graphics are good. I don't think they're, the the best I've ever seen or anything like that, but I didn't really see much to complain about. Um, I thought the detail on some of the characters was great. The detail in the environment's excellent. The weapons, I love the weapons so far. Yeah, absolutely in love with this game. I don't know how to say it any more than that. I'm in love with this game. Now, when I this what y'all watching now is the PC version, right? And I was fine with it. I thought it was performing pretty well. I didn't really change much of the settings. I had just turned motion blur off. But I left it on. It had like with 100% resolution on TSR by default, but everything in Epic. So I don't really know what TSR is doing if it's 100% image quality. I'm not sure, but I just left it like that. So later in the stream, somebody had asked me what my frame rate was, so I went and did the game bar, and I noticed it was hovering around in the 40s, right? And I noticed it wasn't like ultra smooth, but it was good, right? So I decided to go into the settings at that point, and I turned on FSR3, the quality mode, and instantly, I had VSync on, set to 60, 100% smooth, flawless 60 frames per second. And it looked maybe even better than it did the other way, right? FSR3 was, uh, really good looking on this. And so I turned off VSync though just to see, and it turned off the cap. And with FSR3, I was getting like over 100, like 115 frames per second and all that kind of stuff. I saw a lot of people in the chat saying they were having issues with performance, right? And I think that it may depend on the graphics cards that are being used. Maybe Nvidia potentially is having more problems right now than AMD. Like maybe it's settings, maybe it's CPU. I'm not exactly sure what would be causing different performance levels there. But overall, I was happy with the performance, especially after turning FSR3 in, and I was getting a lock 60 at 3440 by 1440 with everything on Epic,
Nice.
right? So, um, after that, I was decided to boot up the Series X version just for
Mhm.
comparison's sake, right? During the stream, and I'm gonna try and skip to that point. It was kind of dark, so I had to turn up the gamma. Um,
Yes, I had to turn up mine too. It was really
yeah,
dark in the beginning. I had to adjust brightness and
but
gamma.
yeah, this was a Series X version
Mhm.
when I was playing it,
And
and
what's weird, man, real quick too.
yeah,
A lot of There's a lot of people out here trying to say that the Series X version was ugly, and I was like,
yeah,
again, I didn't have anything to compare it to because I haven't played the PC. But Mav, you going back and forth like right away, did you notice like a massive difference? Was it like, oh my, like was it oh my god, or was it
no,
like no?
no, and I even made a point. I wanted to go and like meet some characters and talk to them and
Yeah,
stuff just to see the visuals on the faces. I noticed the teeth weren't as like
sure,
um
yeah, little stuff.
detailed.
Yep. Mhm.
But overall the environment looked pretty much the same. It wasn't as smooth with FSR3 on my PC. The frame rate wasn't as smooth on the Series X. It was maybe I think probably hovering in 40s, 50s, and hitting 60 quite a bit. But
Are you playing with
overall,
VRR on your TV on Series? This one?
on that TV, I don't know,
Okay,
honestly.
because mine's got
I'd have to
VRR
look.
obviously, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I noticed like minor, like every once in a while, I could tell
yeah,
it wasn't quite at 60, but the VRR it smooths everything out. I'm just gonna let everybody know up front, like going into the next
yeah.
generation, I would highly recommend everybody upgrade because TVs are really coming way down in price. It's we're on that other side of
Yeah.
4K now. Anybody who has not invested in a TV in a while, buy next generation. Go get yourself a VRR monitor or TV because it does make a huge difference. It really
Yes,
does. It's a
like
lifesaver.
this
Yeah.
monitor does, and
Yes.
I know that that TV does, but I don't know about the one that I've been using to stream, and also it goes through a capture card, so I'm not sure exactly all that kind of stuff, but ultimately, like I was happy with the graphics. I thought the performance was fairly good, especially for a huge open world game like this, with as much detail and as much stuff in it. I don't know what people expect these days.
It's really weird. I
I
mean,
I
again,
I don't. I really don't. Now, I will say the only issue I had was okay, there's a couple things. I had one crash on PC, and I
yep,
had this crash on the
right
Series
here.
X. The reason I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
This crashed at this moment,
Yep.
and I reloaded it because I was lucky I saved. This you want to save often in
And
this
you
game.
want to save often. You can save scum in
Yes.
this game. So save often. Save
Yeah.
often.
So
Anyways,
I had that crash,
okay.
and then I had one crash on PC,
Okay.
right? Ultimately, like I said before, like it's whatever. I'm glad I didn't go for a couple hours and not save it or whatever. But
Without
yeah,
even watching.
yeah, the graphics were good. I mean, they were fine. And like overall, the performance was good, and it was fine. I thought it was overall. If I was just somebody like, hey, what's that game? That looks good. That's what would be my reaction to
Yeah.
somebody seeing somebody playing Stalker 2 if I didn't know anything about it. It ran good. It played good. I'm not sitting here expecting um everything to be perfect all the time,
Right.
right? But in a game like this, especially with everything involved with it, as big as it is, um, I I want them to target 60,
Yep.
which they're doing,
Right.
right? And I'm not gonna like kill people if they can't 100% always have a ultra smooth frame rate at the end of the day. Like
No. As long as
I
we have the
don't.
option.
It's exactly Pong, the option,
Just the
right?
option.
Yes, and but, like, it didn't bother me
Right.
whatsoever on the frame rate on that, and I thought that it was overall performed really good, and the game looked pretty much as good as PC, so, and
Yeah,
that's
Royd.
on
It's
a much higher end PC, so
Roy brings up the Ray Oid, Royd,
Roid.
steroid.
Roid.
Ray Oid brings up the lighting map. That's the one thing that caught
Yeah.
me. Like there
Oh,
are
the lighting is
certain
gorgeous.
moments that are freaking wow,
Yeah, and this is still the Series
wow, wow,
X
wow.
version running in the
Yeah,
daytime now, so you can see a little bit more detail.
you can see the detail.
Um, yeah, and the other thing I keep wanting to mention
Yeah.
about a highlight for me, this was
Yes.
one of the main things I love about this game.
Yep.
The human AI
Mhm.
for the enemies is awesome.
Yeah, some people are saying it's stupid. I haven't seen that
I
yet.
I don't know, man. Like they're chunking grenades at me. They're like flanking me. They're like
Mhm.
uh trying to sneak behind me. They're
Flush you out. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing all this different kinds of shit, and like it's brutal. They'll shoot through fences if they know you're there. They'll throw
Yep.
stuff over fences. Like it's not one of these things where they just gonna pretend like, oh, where'd you go? Like it's like they're out to fucking get your ass, dude. And I love that. And yeah, you have to heal a lot. You have to run. You have to get cover. You have to bandage a lot because you're bleeding. You have to eat food. Like,
Yep.
you have to get rid of radiation poisoning, like,
Mhm.
you have to do all this shit, but they make it simple to do all those things, right? They make it simple to do all that stuff. But the combat is super fun especially against the humans. The monsters are brutal, especially those
Bro.
bloodsucker guys,
Bro.
like, the
Yeah.
invisible dudes.
Yeah.
I fought one earlier in a cave,
Yeah.
and all I had was a shotgun with, like, 7 shells and janky, like, uh, a janky assault rifle that was, like, half broken,
Jesus.
And I'm like, "Oh my god," but I had saved right before I started because I
Right,
knew
right.
that the maybe coming up, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And, he's running at me all invisible like, and I just try and put some shells into him, but, like, it's just I've been having a blast, dude. I've been having a blast with this game.
Yeah,
Use your when you play this against the humans and stuff, don't just charge in full
you
on
can't.
face first and just think you're gonna, like
No.
you gotta, like, run around the buildings and, like, try and, like, flank them and do all these different kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I've been
And they'll
having a
see you from a long
blast.
way too. You gotta
Yeah,
be sneaking. Although
and
again, daylight matters, light matters. If you got your
yeah,
flashlight on, they'll notice your flashlight. Like all that stuff matters. It really
and
does.
and the looting is awesome in
Yes.
this game.
Yes. Yes. I was shocked to see originally. Now I see your inventory there is much better. Because I noticed that you actually had a whole lot of weapons stashed. The earlier time, I was like,
Yeah,
how do you not have? How do you only have one AK-47U? I had three by the time I was at that point. I was like, Jesus, because yeah,
I might have dropped I dropped a bunch of shit at one
yeah.
point.
I don't mind being over encumbered because I take this entire game
Yeah,
slow. Now it sucks if you meet a monster and you got to run an anomaly and you got to run, and that's the other thing you got to be aware of. You got to be aware of environment in this game as well. Like Matt was talking about the radiation. That's a whole another part of this game because the world is the land itself is an enemy a lot of the time because there are anomalies that you have to watch out for. There's radiation that you have to watch out for. Like Matt said, you have to pay attention. I love how they do the radiation too with the static effect on your screen. I think it's
yeah.
dope as hell how they did that. Couple things while you were talking, Matt, that I was thinking about. Anybody who's starting up Stalker 2, if you guys don't mind subtitles, play this like a JRPG. Mav and I were talking about this in the background. A lot of people have complained about the English acting.
Yeah.
I have not listened to it yet. I've heard some people's clips, so I kind of get the general impression. I knew that was going to be the case, obviously, just from again because of everything going on over there and what they had to do to get this game right. Like I didn't expect the acting to be great. So I'm playing this like a JRPG. So I chose Ukrainian because you can choose from English or Ukrainian. I chose Ukrainian out the gate and I'm playing with subtitles. The Ukrainian acting, as far as emotions go, again, getting across what's happening on the screen so far is awesome. It is really, really well done. And because this whole game is set over there, just like JRPGs, it kind of gives that authenticity to it, right? Because it is a game that's set actually in that part of the world. So having everybody speak their native language on screen works. So again, if you don't mind subtitles, I would highly recommend picking Ukrainian and rolling with it. It's really, really good. Matt, did you have any of the issues that I was talking about when I was going through things that people are talking that there's a problem with the aiming of the weapons and the sound like is off on the weapon, so you shoot and then the shot comes after you shoot and it really throws people off? Have you
No.
had any of that kind of stuff? No, neither have I.
Um, I I noticed that aiming's a little loose,
Okay.
but I also kind of expected that in this game because a lot of times these kind of games just have that kind of feel to it because it adds a little bit more to a realistic feel that they're going for,
Mhm.
right? Less arcadey gunplay. So I was not thrown off by that
Okay.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
It just has a little bit more sway to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But overall, that was an expectation I have just based on these kind of games,
Yep.
right? And
Pretty good actually.
but as far as the gunplay has been excellent so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
The controls I didn't have any issue. I when I first started I'm getting desync a lot when I'm using just wireless gameplay on my
Yeah.
controller, so I just plugged it in.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have an issue with that, but I haven't noticed a lot of the drift and stuff people are talking about.
Yeah. It was weird.
Personally,
Yeah.
uh maybe it's very sensitive with the controls. So if there is like a slight stick drift that maybe other games aren't picking up on, or maybe this one is, I'm not sure. Because we all know the Xbox controllers are synonymous with having that issue. And I got like 7 of them in the house that has stick drift, bro. That I don't use anymore. So that's the thing. The voice acting thing too, that you're just
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
This guy right here on the right,
Yeah.
that the voice actor for that guy is just really bad, right? That guy's voice actor is horrible, but other than that, I haven't noticed any problems or had any issues with the voice acting.
Okay.
In fact, I've actually kind of thought some of it was decent, like pretty good. Some of it's better than others, but and you
Sure.
can kind of notice some like okay, whatever. But like, it hasn't been a problem. It's kind of been like, again, what I expect in a game, this kind of game. Like I've heard the same kind of dialogue in tons of games that sound great and look great and people praise and stuff. I think the characters are very interesting
Mhm.
too. A lot of the characters they have, but yeah, this guy who's I think he's an important character. Uh, I haven't done too much yet. Like I'm only 4 hours in, so I don't know where it's all gonna go. But his voice actor sounds like a guy that just got off the street. Is like,
Yeah,
hey, run some lines,
which again,
$50.
yeah,
He's like,
right.
okay. But besides that, like, I haven't had any issue with.
That's good. Yeah, like Decado said, the original didn't even have an English option, so you had to
Yeah,
play it with Ukrainian, which was freaking awesome.
yeah, and
Um,
I've been playing in English.
yeah, Ray Oid says I'm a run and gun gamer, and I learned really quick. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, Ray. And this game will teach you hard lessons if you try to do that. And you got to conserve, man. You got to conserve. Oh my god, it's such a
you gotta look
different.
out for traps too, the
Yeah,
anomalies,
yeah, the
like,
anomalies. Like I said, the
um,
environment itself is an enemy. It's tough. You got to be.
so much cool stuff with this
Yeah,
game, man. I'm honestly like, overall, just as a game in general,
yeah.
like just everything I'm experiencing, I'm enjoying it even more so than I thought I would. In fact, it's gonna probably be up there with some of my favorite games. I think
Right.
I'm loving it, absolutely loving it.
It's great to hear. And again, I want to get back to playing it after my first hour. Was like, okay, yeah, I'm in. Like, this is exactly what I was waiting for. This is exactly
Yeah,
Stalker. It's exactly what I was thinking that Stalker would be in 2024. And again, the PC community, which is the main Stalker fan base, because the original Stalkers weren't on console back in the day, it was PC. That main fan base over there is loving it. To be real, like they again, a lot of them, because none of them had AAA expectations. Oh my God, this is going to be some. No, they were all expecting a AA game from GSC Game World that just put them back into one of their favorite worlds of all time in video gaming. And that's exactly what GSC Game World did. And a little bit of jank here and there. It is what it is. Like a lot of us, that's why again, I know it's different for everybody. I saw somebody say that they were getting a lot of screen tearing and they already had like 15 crashes. Like, that sucks. And again, this sounds like, map that we have a cyberpunk situation where some people are having a really good experience and then others are having this experience that's just bug laden, performance issue,
yeah,
problem city. The one thing I will say that obviously has been fixed from the patches, because it's something that by now you and I certainly would have picked up, was that UE5 stutter. That was a massive problem, I guess, to a lot of reviewers. And I guess the day one patch did fix a lot of the stuttering, because I haven't had that stutter at all. I haven't
yeah,
seen it. So that is good news, because that can be annoying. That stutter is kind of bad every once in a while. But
hmm
I just think overall that this game is doing exactly what I thought it would do. I would have loved GSC Game World to have a perfect situation to develop this game the way that they wanted to develop it, and see what, if anything, would have been different with the final product on release. Obviously, we can't do that, but for what they went through, for how many delays there were, the fact that this game is even coming out at this point, being an honest to goodness miracle. I think it's overused in the video game industry, but this one here, yeah, it would have been so much easier for the whole team just to throw their hands up in the air and to either pause development until things got back to normal, or to just cancel the game and say, we can't do this because we're losing family members. We got team members, going off to war. Like, we just can't do this. Like, I would have not blamed them in the least that any of those things happened. But they battled through. They got this game out. And for all of that, and again, yes, am I giving them bonus points? Absolutely. I think they deserve bonus points in that situation. Not forgiving everything, not excusing everything. I think they did a hell of a job. And I think
yeah,
the game lives up to what I was looking for. And if you are holding off, if you are waiting to play this game because you've heard a lot of the problems, that's cool too. Like Steele and I always say, single player games nowadays, no matter what dev team it is, for the most part, single player games, if you wait a year, you're going to play a better game than what we did at launch. And I think that this game down the road is going to be completely patched, and it's going to be a freaking amazing experience. And a lot of people are going to go back and play for the first time a year from now, 2 years from now, and go, holy shit, Stalker 2 is amazing. Because I think everything else the reviewers said, Mav, even the ones that did rip it. And again, VGC should be ashamed of themselves. Specifically, that reviewer should be ashamed of himself for what he did. with this game's, in my opinion, there's zero consistency whatsoever. When I've got a prime example of another game that had performance issues where you gave it 5 stars. And this one you give 2 stars, knowing that Metacritic turns that into a 40. That's a problem. But anyways, all the reviewers, even the even some of the lower reviews, said that underneath whatever issues they were having was a really great game, and the side characters and the content and the decision making and the threat at all time from the environment, all of that is there, and that there is a core really good experience, even for the people who just could not overlook things or had so many issues they just had to drop the score. So I think when it does get fixed and people go play this again, I think that you're going to find out this was a great game, just like Cyberpunk all along.
Well,
just
I
like
think
all the
this
people
is
that went back to Cyberpunk.
this is going to be one of those games that people play for a very long time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's always going to be there, and like it's going to always tell the same great story, and you're always going to have this world, and you can play this game 20 different times and approach it differently.
Yes,
You know what I mean? So
and there's stuff you can miss completely.
yeah,
You can miss
100%.
So
there'll be people playing this and there'll be PC mods probably come out for this later that'll be insane and stuff.
Yep.
So I think it'll be a game that's gonna have a great longevity. I just can't believe we got both the games that we talked about tonight were in Game Pass day and date, dude. I didn't have to pay anything for either of them. I got to play both of them on PC and my console. Everything just moves over seamlessly. Even when I was streaming, like I just like, hey, I'm gonna flip over there, like
yep.
Yeah,
your saves right there, and everything's good.
Yeah, dude. I love it, man. I love it. And now I want everybody to have a great, smooth experience with all that stuff, and hopefully, that happens more so now with. I think Flight Sim has had more issues, obviously, because of the whole login queues and all that kind of stuff. But well, again, once that gets resolved too for everybody, I think like people are going to start to see what I saw when I was playing that game. Because man, it's special also.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. Yeah. Let's see. Poison says so. Performance tech issues aside, sounds like an actual promising game. Promising games. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, like it depends on your setup. I think like for me, I didn't have any really performance or technical issues. Like I had a crash. That's it. There was one part where I saw some shadows dancing a little awkward.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. I've seen some of the lighting shadows. People put like there are things. Again, that's polished. This team just had no chance to.
But like I think we're like we've always seen these kind of random things sometimes in these big open world games and stuff, and we're kind of expect that random stuff to happen. Like if you go play Skyrim today, you can still have weird shit happen occasionally. Like
all the time.
I think I just have a hard time understanding what people's expectations are for games and how certain games are picked apart for like certain things, and other games are just like, wow, this like what they've accomplished with this is so amazing. And so yeah, they have some issues, but they promise they're working it out. Let's move on. You know what I mean? And that's like only mention it has. It doesn't affect the score, doesn't affect everybody's perception. Nobody's like out there taking shots of it, sharing it, saying how brokey and janky and all these other kind of things are. But then like you have a game that's like performs maybe even better, or is even has better performance or even better polish and stuff than one of these other games. And it's like, oh, did you see that? Oh, this game's broken. This game's like a mess. It's like, how could they have launched this? And like first off, ambition level, a game like this does way more than a lot of those other games also that we're talking about. Secondly, like why not judge everything kind of on the same playing field? So I think ultimately, like I've been super impressed overall. I think when I was expecting to have a lot of crazy shit happen, I was expecting to see like massive issues. I was expecting to see bugs all over the place. I was expecting to see horrible graphics and horrible everything after the internet that I saw before I started playing the game. I started playing. I'm like, am I playing the same game? Like I like what is my eyes actually seeing here that other people's didn't? I don't understand. I don't comprehend, right? So I don't know. The best thing is just to kind of, shut the noise out and have your own experience. right? And see what you think when you play.
Especially on a Game Pass game. Again, that's the thing. I understand when people say, "Well, I don't want to spend the money to go try it myself." I get that, right? There's times where you got to listen to other people and you got to try to judge whether or not you want to actually spend your money. But when it's in Game Pass and it's there for you to check out, no matter what, there really isn't any excuse in my book why not just download it and try it for yourself and see if it's your experience, because again, your experience could be completely different than everybody else's, and know who you are as a gamer. That's what I always say. Again, bugs don't bother me like other people, and I know that. That's why when people say, oh, I got these bugs or I got screen tearing, like, or all that kind of stuff, I always go, well, that shit doesn't bother me. Like, I
Yeah.
still say to this day that I don't know what screen tearing is. I know what it is, but like, I never notice it in games. Like, people claim that it just totally ruins their experience, which I believe them. But for me, it just doesn't even pop up. Like, again, I guess just because I've been playing for so damn long and I've experienced pretty much every type of bug you can possibly have in a video game, I just ignore them. Like, again, unless it takes away my time, ruins my time that I got into the game and I lose time. That's the only one where I'm unforgiving of. But everything else, I'm like, fine. But that's just me. Again, I know not everybody's like that. But I think there's just no reason to go check this out. And like you said, Mav, I think that ultimately this game's going to be played for a long time, and Soccer 2 is going to be around. And I think that the other nice part or the good part about this, especially with the reception on Steam right now, which is going to be their biggest
Yeah.
kind of fan base, GSC, once everything gets settled over there, and we hope that's all going to get settled soon and be kind of done with this. Once they get back to normal again and kind of go, they just put out a game in one of the worst possible experiences that you can have in real life, in real war. They put out a game during that time. Think about what that team's going to be able to do in the future. They've got a great base here to continue their passion
Oh yeah.
forward now that because again, don't forget, this studio was disbanded. Okay, this studio was done. That's why, part of the team and one of the original founders left and formed the Metro team, was because GSC was done. The other half, the other founder, came back and put a team together and brought GSC, built it back from the ashes again, only to have war break out in their own country in the middle of their first game back, Stalker 2. But I expect this team to stick around. This team's
Mhm.
going to maybe they'll have a chance to get out another, the PS5 version of this game eventually. Maybe they'll be able to get some DLC out for this game. But just think about how strong that team's going to be once they're all back together and they pulled all this off the way they did. Their future is bright. And so I
Yeah.
can't wait now that Stalker's back, now that they see that there's still a fan base. The video game industry, whether the reviewers or not, the video game industry sees a Stalker universe is still viable in 2024 and beyond now, even though it's got that not a genre that not everybody's going to appreciate. A hardcore first person shooter survival game is not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody sees that. I can expect a lot more from
Yeah.
GSC Game World in the future. It's gonna be fun.
But right now, like Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, very positive on Steam with
Mhm.
16,000 reviews.
Yep.
And it is the number one seller still after even after yesterday.
Yep.
Um, Call of Duty there.
Mhm.
Flight Sim is I think number 10 right now on
Mhm.
this list. As far as games go, that would be number 9. Path of Exile, the first one, and Path of Exile 2. So I think saw a bump today with the Path of Exile
Yeah.
um
Yes, sir.
show they had as well.
They got founders
Um,
packs galore. They got a $400 founders pack, by the way, if you
yeah.
want to support the team. It's crazy. Anyways, yes.
But yeah, overall, I'm pretty sure that GSC Game World's pretty pleased with this result.
Yes.
On top of the Game Pass money that they got, the
Yeah.
amount of Xbox players that are probably playing the game as well,
Mhm.
right? Either on their console or PC. And I think at the end of the day, it's a gonna be a net positive for that team, and happy for them. Like I know that not everybody's super pleased, but overall, it seems like the PC community in general is overall pretty damn happy with this launch with with the reviews on it and stuff. Because they're not going to be like they're just going to rate the game how they see,
Mhm.
right? And very positive on Steam is pretty damn good. So
Yes, sir. And again, the clowns are going to be the clowns. I saw everybody laughing again. That's even sad, especially with what everybody knows this team's gone through in the first place. I saw some pretty despicable stuff. Again,
yeah,
It is what it is in this community. That's why I don't like that side of things from either side, because it does get nasty. Even though they all like to say it's just jokes, it doesn't say just jokes. It gets nasty, but for everything that happened to get to this point, to have this game come out in the way it did, and I think there are going to be people like us that do play it, Mav, even on console only, not on high end PCs, that just go, nah, this is kind of what I was expecting. Like,
Mhm.
I'm seeing a lot of that positivity out there, and people like you who never played the original Stalker coming into the Stalker universe. Maybe they tried some Metro, but Stalker again is a different beast. But I've seen some people go, hey, this is kind of fun. This is actually a kick-ass game, because again, we should reiterate for people who don't know, it is basically an open world game. This is an open world game. You could pretty much go anywhere. Sure, they have areas where you know the beginning where they kind of set you up and you're kind of going through, but you are able to go pretty much anywhere. Now you can run into radiation zones, which aren't going to be great
Yeah.
if you don't have the right gear, obviously, but you're pretty much free to go explore. And people don't understand that. And so, like, this is a big, giant game once you get into it, with lots of side content, lots of side missions to get into, lots of characters to meet. And again, you can just totally bypass side stories in this
Yeah.
game, just like you can in any open world RPG. You could miss a bunch of people and a bunch of side quests just by just playing the game, not exploring everything. Like, that's what they talked about that they kept from the first one. So go check this game out. If you got Game
Yeah.
Pass, go check it out. Don't listen to all the noise. Wait, if you want to wait. Again, you will have a better experience down the road, but I'm telling you right now, it's playing pretty damn well for me. So, and Mav
Yeah.
said the same thing. So,
I hope we see like expansions and stuff for
yes, that's what I said. Yeah.
yeah.
It would be nice. It would be nice if they can get back to normal over there and start thinking about that. Obviously, they're probably going to want to put out the PC or the PS5 port eventually here, because
Mhm.
that'll open up another fan base. All good
Yeah.
on them, right? Whatever, go do it. But I would love to see that team be able to sit down and then really start thinking about this, and thinking about where they want to take it, because I think it's Stalker is showing that it's a spot. It's got a spot in 2024 and beyond, man. It's great to have the franchise back. This is
Yeah.
big. People who were on PC way back in the day won't know. I wasn't even a PC player. I just so happened to have a couple buddies who were, that I got to experience some things. So I know kind of what it was. But watching that documentary, like I said, how big it was for people in Europe, Stalker was on a whole nother level in
Yeah.
Europe, like a whole nother level over there. So I'd love to see it continue, and GSC Game World deserves it, obviously. So let's go. All right, Mav. Well, hey, you know what? Let's keep it rolling here. Let's hop into the main topic, which is avowed greatness. A little play on words for everybody. Avowed is obviously, the definition of avowed is to publicly declare. So I came up with the title Avowed Greatness because we had a second round of previews come out today. So a whole big group of people got to go play Avowed again. If you remember, we had an early round. Was that the beginning of the year, Mav, that we had the first previews? I can't remember.
Yeah.
If it was the
I
beginning of the year or end of last year. I can't remember when we got that
yeah, I
first set of
can't
previews.
remember.
I think it was beginning of the year, pretty sure. They got everybody together again and let everybody play Avowed, which probably will be the final preview build that they let a bunch of influencers and journalists play. But we got all their dumps today, Mav, out of the blue. I actually wasn't paying attention. I didn't know that we were going to have this today, but we did. And sounds like I've got a couple articles marked here in our DMs that I'm gonna read from, but it sounds like, Mav, that a lot of people who were on the fence of Avowed the second time they got to play it, now they're sold. And if they're not completely sold, they're very, very interested in this game now. And for the people who were already good on the game, the improvements that they saw from their last build supposedly are fantastic, especially when it comes to the third person view, the combat, which a lot of people had problems with. If you guys remember the first showing of Avowed, the first trailer that we got at the Xbox Game Show, got panned by a lot of people. Not here, of course. Again, this is one of my most anticipated games from Xbox because it's Obsidian, and I love what Obsidian does. And Mav was on board too, but a lot of people panned that, and we were told that that was an older build that they showed in that trailer, and some people didn't want to believe it. But now people are seeing the final vision because they are in final polishing mode. Obviously, they've got until February. Um, Real quick, I'll get this out of the way. Carrie Patel, who is the lead on Avowed, she's a really awesome interview, by the way. She came out and said during this preview process, and she did a couple interviews as well, and said, "I want to clarify 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X is not our target. We will hit that at the very least. We are fully into performance optimization. We want to fully deliver a beautiful world at the best frame rate possible, at the best, wait, hold on, the best frame rate we possibly can. We're working on that right now." So if you guys remember the last time we saw Avowed at the Direct, there was that interview with Cog and Mr. Matty Plays. Shout out to Cog and Mr. Matty Plays. And they had actually approached the subject of frames. And one of the devs, I forget his name, he said that 30 frames was the number. And of course, that was a big conversation. Here, Mav and I's point is to give us options. And again, especially this generation, we don't ask for PC options on console, but just give us options, 2 of them, performance and quality. Even if you can't hit 60, like we were just talking about in Stalker, have the option there and let us see if we want to play it with VRR or whatever the case may be, but let us choose. And so when that came out, of course, there was a whole discussion about 30 frames again, blah, blah, blah. Sounds like Carrie's confirming here, Mav, that they're trying to work that out and that they're going to shoot for higher than 30 frames.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think they're being careful with their words. I don't want to like
They don't
commit
want
to
to say lock. We're going to
something.
lock
Yeah,
to 60. I don't think they.
yeah.
Again, if they get close and we can play with VRR, that's cool with me, right? So I just wanted to get that out of the way right now because I don't think we need to have a huge discussion about. We've talked the 30 frames and performance and quality mode to death on all this stuff, especially Avowed when that all happened. But I thought that was interesting that she made it quite clear in that interview to say that. But here, I'm going to go through, first of all, I'm going to just give you guys a rundown of Shinobi 602, who kind of did an overall breakdown. And then I'm just going to grab one article and briefly read through some of it so you guys get an idea of what the previews are, because they were pretty even across the board. I do have one I want to have. Mav and I are going to have a discussion about kind of what we heard about the previews, what we've been seeing. A lot of new screenshots came out. A lot of new video came out today as well. And where we're at with Avowed. And I do have one little topic that was interesting because only one place that I saw brought it up surprised me. It might affect you. It might not affect you at all, depending on your play style and what you like to do in these games. But I thought it was curious nonetheless. So we're going to bring that up and talk about that real quick too. But Shinobi 602 always does a great job on breaking down and kind of just giving us highlights of previews. He says you play as the Envoy, a fully customizable character traveling to the living lands, the setting of the game, on orders from the leader of the Adir Empire, Adir, I forget how they pronounce that one, a nation of humans and elves. Give you guys a little, we'll run through this. The living lands have a sort of Wild West frontier vibe where people head there in search of a better life, full of rough and tumble type inhabitants. As the Emperor's envoy, most people immediately look at with mild distrust or full hostility as they see the Adir Empire trying to establish a foothold there. You are sent there to investigate the Dream Scourge, a soul plague that's infecting everything, and you need to learn how to stop it. The game is not fully open world, but is made up of open zones that are large and interconnected, similar to the Outer Worlds. We already knew that. Obsidian has made it a focus that each area is fully handcrafted and has interesting things to do. Bandit camps, ruins to explore, half-destroyed hovels, undead soldiers, etc. Features an open class approach to combat where your backstory, war hero, arcane scholar, etc., determine your starting weapon, but you can find other options as you play, like spears, swords, shields, pistols, and can freely wield them. You can store 2 weapon loadouts at a time and swap between them instantly, including mid-attack combo. Hitting enemies damages health and also builds up a stagger meter that leaves them stunned when maxed out, allowing to do weapon-specific special moves for a lot of damage. You can sneak around stealthily and get enemies from behind, or use the environment to your advantage, like shooting fiery berries to start a fire. Some encounters can be bypassed entirely through stealth or through dialogue combos if you have the right stats. Combat is described as fast and fluid, managing your stamina meter to dictate your attacks. dodging unblockable enemy attacks, charging up your weapons for stronger hits, and being able to dual wield like double swords, spear, and pistol, etc. always feels like you have something up your sleeve. You guys know I'm dual wielding wands. Fuck yeah, bro. Let's go.
Yeah.
I love dual wielding, but with wands, let's go. It's gonna be fun. Some previewers, however, felt the combat was also undeniably on the easy side. Interesting. I wonder if difficulty level. Didn't hear a lot of those reviews, but I wonder if difficulty level will be adjusted. They're still in the process of AI stuff. I don't know. That is something to keep your eye on. Eurogamer worries the Living Lands might not be as strange as Obsidian hopes it feels like, as there is nothing that popped out as unique or wild. The original unlock special abilities that run on cooldown timers, mix and match different skills like the fighter's dash tackle and the ranger's magic vines that entangles enemies. There are many choices to make in the game, like happening upon a smuggler in a cage in the first outpost you encounter, whereby she's immediately distrustful of you, and it's up to you whether or not you release her or not. One of the first places you visit is Paradise, the main hub point of the civilization of the Living Lands, and you will have to find the Claviger, essentially the town's mayor, who went off to investigate some Dream Scourge reports. After that, you're free to explore wherever you like. Side quests immediately become available, and they will impact your main story and vice versa. Choices in side quests heavily impact individual characters, groups of characters, and entire settlements, factions of people, and the states of the regions that you go through. They will also impact the choices that are even available to you. Later in the game, you'll be locked out of or presented with new choices based on the choices you made much earlier in the game. Ding, 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 ding. Obsidian through and through. Love. It's one of the key points why I love this, man. This is going to be great. Exploring off the off-beaten path can often be rewarding, like happening upon a ruined tower that doesn't show up as any icon in the map. Investigating it triggered tripwire traps with swinging blades, inviting phantom enemies, and climbing up to the end revealed a chest with a high-quality piece of armor. You can set up camps in different areas and talk to your companions, learn their backstories, etc., which are all optional. Writing is more grounded compared to the relentless zaniness of the Outer Worlds, though still retains Obsidian's trademark humor, but feels more natural to dialogue and less pressure to be quippy and quirky. Whatever. It's personal taste. Outer Worlds didn't feel like it was forced, quippy and quirky most of the time. There's always going to be little things, but Outer Worlds was natural. It was just part of the whole environment that they pulled off. It was great. Kai, the bluish green Aumawa, God, I can't pronounce these words anymore. Amawa, a companion from the past footage, accompanies you early on. Companions are a constant presence, commenting on landmarks as you pass by during combat, and generally feeling like a fellow traveler rather than just trailing quietly behind you. So that was a good review breakdown right there. Actually, you know what? After reading all that, I really don't need to even bring in another freaking article. I was going to bring in VGC's. VGC's headline was "Hands-on Avowed feels like Obsidian's take on Elder Scrolls, and we can't wait to play more." But I think we got plenty of thoughts there, Mav. So I looked at, man, I want to get your thoughts first, and I'll break in mine. But don't know how much you got to see of new screenshots or the videos that people were posting. There's a ton of videos being posted by people. Obviously, there's a lot more people talking about it today. You know, Cole Eastwood got to go see it again. He has some big thoughts on it, did a video on it. Like, there was a ton of people. Jez got to see it. I don't think it was Jez. Windows Central did get to see it again. I forgot who posted for them, but just tons of new information, man. But it is obvious that this game was prepping to be ready for November. So they are in full, just final polishing. Now, obviously, they got more months to improve upon, but today, especially what I noticed, man, was a lot of people showing off, and Obsidian themselves with screenshots showing off the third-person view, which looked fantastic. Yeah. Looked at the combat. Again, even as somebody who in a first-person view doesn't expect much out of combat, again, Elder Scrolls, like, it always looks kind of janky. It's very hard to get first-person melee combat to look right. Like, I don't expect the world. That's not why I play Obsidian games. That's not why I play Bethesda games. It's for this tight-ass combat. If it's good, that's great, okay, to me. But so the first time we saw it didn't bother me at all. But obviously, it's been improved. There's no question about Obsidian. Took it to heart. Obsidian's been working the hell on the combat. They've been working the hell out of that third person view because it's actually a pretty well done third person view. I just saw a lot of more details. We got to see a lot more land and ecosystems today than we had previously, and they all looked beautiful. Matt, overall, I don't know how much you looked at it, how much you listened to or read, but what are you thinking about Avowed now with these some of these final previews that are coming down today? What's standing out to you right now?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much seen like some of the reactions from the people that have played it, played the demo. I heard a little bit of what Kind of Funny had to say between their panel. I saw what Colt Eastwood posted. I
Okay.
saw
You looked.
some of the articles that were out there, kind of like the headlines and some of the like information. I saw some of the screenshots, saw the and I kind of breezed through the video to watch kind of some of the new gameplay for like the
Mm-hmm.
sit down on the Xbox podcast and also Paris's interview also. Um First off, this is a huge media blitz, right, for
Sure.
this game.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome to see. I mean, we had literally coming off the heels of marketing for Stalker
Right.
2, the marketing for Flight Sim, but like also huge marketing for South of Midnight,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then now Avowed. So people saying that Xbox doesn't market their games. I mean, like it's everything with gaming the last since for a while has been dominated news wise by Xbox games. You know,
Yep.
like just tons of stuff. So we've already seen plenty of Avowed, but we're getting even a bigger look, and it seems like some of the biggest takeaways I've seen from some is that some of the people that were like on the fence on it or weren't super impressed with what they saw earlier on or like weren't crazy excited because but they were after playing the demo they're saying like, oh no, I can't wait to keep playing this. Like that my only issue is that the demo wasn't longer, that I couldn't just keep playing it. Like they're one of their most anticipated games now for next year. You know, so when you're getting people that are kind of on the fence like that engaged, and the biggest reason was mainly because it felt like a true RPG, right? It felt like I've heard a couple people say this, like it felt like something that they felt was missing from like Dragon Age, right? And some other kinds of RPGs that have been out there, right? That it kind of grabbed them like that. Like they called it. I remember on Kind of Funny's comment, they all called it like a nerdy ass RPG, right? And like they
Yep.
love that about it, you know.
Yep.
So I saw that comments. And I was interested in what they say because like they're not necessarily like somebody I would expect to go out of the way to overpraise Xbox games and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So um they all loved it, right? I know that everybody else I've seen pretty much loved it as well. So it's elevated the people that have played it on their hype level. They got to play quite a bit of it.
Yep.
And the things that they had to say about it is the things that make these games special for me, right? So I've always been looking forward to this game ever since it was announced, ever since we found out Obsidian was having the backing from Microsoft to create their vision for kind of like a fantasy uh western first person style RPG. I was like, hell yeah. You know, because it's gonna be a while till we get Bethesda's
Yes.
next Elder
Yes.
Scrolls, you know. So
Yes.
like if even if this isn't on the same scale, you know, to have Obsidian provide something that we know is going to be pure in most of the ways at least, right? That I was gonna be super excited. The graphics,
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yep.
I know it's like people are gonna nitpick certain things all the time, but like art style on this is like gorgeous, bro.
Correct. Yep.
Like, and that's what I care most about when I'm playing these games is like, how do I feel when I'm playing? What is the world? Is it? Do I want to explore the lighting or like all these other kind of things? Like, am I enjoying what I'm looking at? Right? Not necessarily 100% how real is it. It depends on the kind of game that you're playing for that, right? This kind of game, I would never expect that, but I expect this amazing fantasy and that I'm being taken a part of. So everything I keep seeing, it keeps looking better and better and better. on that side. But hearing people talk about the RPG-ness of it with the dialogue options, the choices, how the skills work, how, like with applying the points, how the combat even looks. Like some are gonna say, like, oh, it's not like the best combat or whatever, but like I like the fact that it's kind of like a Skyrim-y, like Oblivion-y kind of
Mhm.
combat system a little bit. I
Mhm.
love that kind of slower pace, like RPG in those games. I watched plenty of the combat with like the bow and arrow, them shooting at the lizards and sword combat, all this stuff. It's I love games like this, man. So Avowed is right up there next year for me as one of my top games. Like Fable is it I don't think anything can surpass Fable for me for being my most anticipated game. GTA is up there obviously as well. Avowed is right there. I'm loving everything I'm seeing, and they have a lot of confidence in it, you know?
Yeah.
They got more time,
Mhm.
so hopefully the optimization is really good when it comes out, and, I think we're gonna get a good experience when we play this game, man.
Yeah, I think that's important, Mav. I think that what you just said there is actually really important. What I've seen from this team is nothing but confidence,
Yeah.
and I think that again, whether whether we know not everybody's going to fall in love with the Obsidian style of game, and again,
Yeah.
I record multiple times saying I wish they would do an Elder Scroll size game. I want them to do a massive open world game. I was hoping this was going to be that one, but obviously that's not the case. So not everybody's going to fall in love with it. But the fact is the fact that they had a vision. Now we heard obviously that there had been some type of restart at some point or whatever the case may be. They moved over to UE5, etc. They went through a lot of different things inside, but what they've shown, and from the time they started showing it, there has been nothing but confidence. Because even when that first trailer came out, man, and people were going, "Oh, this does not look good," like they came out. Carrie Patel came out right away in her next interview and said, "Look, that's an old build. Don't worry about it. We've already worked on a lot of that stuff. We hear you. Just wait and see. You guys will be seeing new builds down the road. Like we'll have other showings of this game. And yes, we do this. And what do they do each time they've shown it since that point, Map? It has gotten better and better. And the things that people really were talking about, specifically the combat and the enemies, really have come to shine now. Like again, I'm not looking for some transcendent type combat, okay, from Obsidian in this game. That's not what this game's about. But the fact that they have improved every time in those areas, they improved on the details and the graphics, right? People complained about the color palette in the original showing. That color palette, Carrie Patel said, listen, we got that under control too. The lighting is going to be in there. We got to put the lighting in there. We got all this stuff to work on. You guys will be seeing that. Ever since that point, that's exactly what's happened every time they showed it. And am I an Obsidian fan? Yes, I am. So am I going to be upbeat and optimistic when they tell me things? I am going to be that, right? But again, from hands down, they made the choices that they made. They stuck with those choices, and I think it's coming to fruition now. I think they're putting it all together at the right time. Again, I wanted to be playing this game right now. I still think that should have been the case. It's not. So we got until February, but that does give the team all this extra time to continuously make more improvements on the game, which was obviously getting ready to be finished for this year. So I think that come February, Mav, even from what we're seeing today, which is spectacular, I think we're going to see even more stuff added or even more things come to life in this game that is going to just make it a much more even a more impressive package than it already is to me. And again, it's because I enjoy this style of game. I enjoy Obsidian's vision of what they do in their worlds. And again, till I get to play it, do I know that I'm going to fall in love with the characters? No, I don't. But seeing the characters and hearing what I have so far of the characters already sets it above like a Dragon Age Veilguard for me. I'm already looking at this going, okay, I can see some characters that I'm going to really enjoy getting to know. Now could that change when I play? Sure, but I just think that that already is putting it ahead for me in the why I'm so hyped about this game. Character creator, you can create male and female. You will only have your choice of human and elf for the characters. People said that it's not an ambitious character creator, that most of the stuff that you will be able to customize is in the face. And they said it's a pretty decent face character creator model. So that is definitely something people highlighted as well. To make it your own there, which is important, obviously. Again, I saw people talk about the third person combat, which was a big thing that I focused on when I was watching videos today and kind of looking at screenshots, and it looks like they've nailed it. Now, I'm the dude who's going to switch back and forth like I do in any game that gives me that option, whether it's Starfield, whether it's, Skyrim, whatever the case may be. I like switching back and forth depending on the situation and kind of the environment I'm in. Now, people like Steel are obviously going to play in third person the entire time. I was just super happy to see how much work they did on that. And like I said, the animation for third person view is so different from first person. The fact that they went out of their way to make this an option is an extra bonus for me. But they worked on that animation. I could tell from the first time we saw it to how much they showed it off this time. Again, that confidence that they've come out from this team every single time, that's shown through at that point too. So really good stuff from Obsidian here today. Was really shocked and surprised that we got all these previews, that they did a second round like this. But it was good to see how it turned out. Like I said, seeing so many reviewers, or so many previewers, I should say, that said that they were on the fence initially, now come on board with it and say, okay, now we're starting to see it. This looks great. Iron Lords did a great breakdown too, by the way. You guys can go watch Iron Lords. They have it written. They also did a roundtable today as well, so you can go check out those guys that got to go look at this preview. Lots of good places to go check out. But I hope you're all hyped for Obsidian's next game. Again, how it turns out, we'll find out, but this is looking like one of those winners. Now, I did say, I'll just throw this out there because I did see it multiple times. There are people that are saying that the game's good, that the game has its really good moments, but they don't know if it has that extra special sauce that makes a Skyrim, right? And stuff like that. We're going to wait and see. Obsidian, again, people thought that about Outer Worlds the first time they saw Outer Worlds 2. Like, what the hell is this kind of quirky shit? And then they played it. Now, again, Outer Worlds isn't known to that level, but I think Obsidian does what they do. And again, it's not going to be for everybody. But I think when it comes to Obsidian games, I think this might have that secret sauce. I'm not going to compare it to Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not going to compare it to Skyrim because it's neither one of those, and it's a totally different type of team at Obsidian. Like I said, I want to see them try it with their vision, but Skyrim specifically. But I think for me, just looking at Obsidian, I think this might be Obsidian's next step forward, using everything they learned from the Outer Worlds and give us a glimpse at what Outer Worlds 2 is going to be like, but doing it in their own way in a high fantasy setting. I think this might have the extra special sauce that people think are missing. I'm just not going to compare it to the other big games out there. But looking forward to February. February can't come soon enough. February is loaded, but I'm making time for Avowed. I really don't care. I'll push off Assassin's Creed Shadows if I have to, because I'm playing Monster Hunter Wilds, right? I'm going to play Civ 7. I'm going to play Avowed. Avowed is going to be day one for me. That has not changed. I'm diving into this game because I want to know. I like the Pillars universe, and I want to know what they did with it. Real quick, Brandon Martin, $10 super chat. Brandon Martin, thank you, brother. Choo choo, motherfucker. He comes in and says, PS5 Pro review. So far for me, it's an okay console. All right, Brandon, I like this. Demon Souls looks a little better. Resident Evil 4 remake with ray tracing 4K, 90 frames per second, runs and looks great. I give it a 6 out of 10. Save your money. All right. I saw Nate come in too. Nate Dog, shout out to you, Nate. You got your PS5 Pro too, and you said that you were really liking the Resident Evil 4 as well. That's really dope. Glad you guys got your PS5 Pros. That's freaking awesome. So I'm glad you're enjoying it, Brandon Martin. Last thing on Avowed, real quick, Matt.
Yeah.
And this was a small thing I said I wanted to bring up. I didn't see any other reviewers bring this up. This is one of those mechanics that a certain section of us would notice and would bring up if we were previewing this. However, like I said, I only saw RPG Site bring this up today. So I wanted to ask you and just want to talk about this a little bit. The thing with open world games, right, and being an RPG is playing how you want to play, right? And again, It's all going to be perspective. Not everybody plays the same way in open world RPGs or RPGs, even like what Obsidian's creating here, which is, partially open world games, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just Western RPGs in general. There is some staples that most RPGs have when it comes to mechanics, especially high fantasy games, right? In particular, but just RPGs. Sorry, my throat's getting really dry. I didn't want to start coughing. And one of those in RPGs is pretty much a staple at this point, and that's thievery. Mav, that's the back alley sneaking, and we heard in the review section from Shinobi that there is sneaking in this game. You can obviously attack people from behind, so there is sneaking in this game. You can sneak around enemies. They said you can actually complete some things. So usually thievery is attached to that. Now, Obsidian games have always had thievery in them. So this is nothing new. Pillars of Eternity, the CRPG, of course, had thievery in it. Skyrim's got thievery. Starfield's got thievery. Baldur's Gate 3's got thievery. Looting, taking things from people is a thing. Not everybody uses it. Not everybody plays that way. Me, every single game possible, if they have sneak and they have the option to steal, I'm robbing your asses. Okay? That's what I do to NPCs. I'm robbing stores. I'm robbing loot. I'm robbing chests. I'm robbing everybody. Don't care who you are. I'm robbing guards. Okay? It shocked me a little bit when RPG site came out and said Avowed has a thievery problem. There is none. And like I said, they were the only ones that I saw mention this. And I'm not going to read the whole article, but I'm just going to kind of read this. Read the section that I gave to Mav when we were talking about the DMs. For me, stealing in a game such as this and its peers, Elder Scrolls, Baldur's Gate, Pillars of Eternity, Fallout, etc., has always felt like such an intrinsic aspect of the style of RPG that finding it to be missing genuinely bums me out. Perhaps it's the risk involved, the avenues it can open up and try and get better gear, or just the outcomes that it can result from a botched attempt. But stealing from NPCs is just fun. Considering that Avowed doesn't include a way to try to barter with shopkeepers either for reduced prices, it makes them all just feel like sterile and generic affairs, an experience that I don't expect or want when I boot up a game like this. It baffles me to some degree that it has been omitted, seeing as Obsidian has included it in both of their Pillars titles and the legendary Fallout New Vegas game, and yet has done away with it here. To be clear, Avowed does a fine job of sprinkling in little treasure chests and bags around for you to discover, filled with resources to craft and other goodies. When I say a lack of stuff and loot, I'm speaking more of generic things and drops from foes you beat. I would say that perhaps 1 out of every 5 enemies I fought could be looted, and even then the rewards felt lacking. With generic stuff around outside of those chests and bags I mentioned previously, don't expect random wheels of cheese or other oh God, I can't say this word now. Superfluous. God, I can't say it. Anyways, trinkets around to discover and hoard. That point in particular, I understand, will be very much a non-issue for many folks. But for me, finding and getting these random items that don't have much in the way of viability or simply take up some space in my inventory helps make the world of these games feel lived in. Do I need a complete serving set of silverware I found in a cupboard, or 10 torn tunics and rusted swords from monsters I've killed? No. Do I think there are people that may or would use this to build their character's personality? Yes, I do. All right, so I'll leave it there. He sums up how I feel, like a lot about what I feel about thievery. And again, this is for a lot of you in the chat. You guys might not give 2 shits about this, right? It's just that it is an odd omission in this case from Obsidian, who has had thievery in their games, and it just this type of world. Mav, I know for you, you may not steal as much as I do. You might not be the hoarder that Kate and I are in Starfield or in other Bethesda games like I am. But do you understand why it's a little strange for me that Obsidian didn't put it? Does it feel like a little odd, like a high fantasy game with NPCs and shit that you can't rob people? Like, with a
Yeah,
C.
it's
It's
a little
weird.
weird. Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, I saw that, I was like, "Oh, really?" You know, but, like, it I don't if if that's your thing, for
Yeah.
sure, like, it would be a bigger deal for me if it was my
Yeah, it's like
thing. I usually, when I attempt to steal things in these
yeah,
games, it ends up being to where the whole town is coming after me
it's
to try and
freaking
kill me.
fun as shit though.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So, I mean, I do it sometimes, but not, like, a lot,
Yeah,
where I'm not, like, pickpocketing everybody. So
yeah,
but I've played, eh, some games before where I have done them more. It's interesting in regards to that just because, like, it is, like, a Western RPG, but
yeah.
at the end of the day, I don't
No,
like, I don't think it's gonna affect too much except
no.
for, like, affecting the way you play it, obviously,
Yes.
right? So, I'm wondering, at the end of the day if, like, this was because there's less random shit in the world and less, like because
Possibly.
that was something else that was in there
Mhm,
of, like, it seems like most of the loot is based more on, like, exploration for chests and doing the
mhm,
quests and stuff like that, which, like a RPG like Starfield or like Skyrim, you pick up like cups and forks and
mhm.
trash and all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
other
yeah.
kind of stuff, right? So, I can't remember Outer Worlds. Could you do
Yes.
it in Outer Worlds?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Freaking absolutely. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying is Obsidian's done it in all their freaking games. Like
Yeah.
that
So,
it's a part of RPG, like it's a staple. Like it's
yeah, it is
weird.
it is a
Yeah.
staple. So it's
Yeah.
interesting they chose not to do it because
Yeah.
if they're not doing it, it had to have been a choice,
Yeah.
right? So maybe I don't know why, but there's got to be a reason why. I would be curious for somebody to ask them why you can't steal,
Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah.
But
Now that it's out there, like I said, it's such a random thing that I saw,
yeah,
man, because nobody else was pointing it out. So obviously, I know there's a big group of us that do it in pretty much every RPG, but the fact that no other reviewer I saw pointed that out was kind
yeah.
of weird to me too. Cause I was like,
Now,
wow, that'd be like one
what
of the first things I tried. Like
what
literally.
did they ask anything about it or find out you can't for sure, or is it just maybe the part of the game that they had access to? Yeah,
It's again, there was no quotes from the devs
right.
from RPG sites.
'Cause I
So
have played games like this too, where like it's an unlockable skill that
right,
you
you'd
get
have to
later
invest
on.
skill points. Correct. Yes,
Right.
absolutely. In Outer Worlds, you had to invest in your
Yeah.
stealth and you had to invest your skill points. But I'm assuming from the way this dude wrote his
Yeah.
article, he tried, like he looked and tried, like, and there's just nothing there. There's no option whatsoever. Because even if it is a skill that you have to unlock, it'll still pop up when you're sneaking up on somebody, right? It just won't let you do it because you don't have the skill, you don't have the option to. So I gotta imagine that it's real. And now if it comes out that's completely different, I'll come back here and correct everything and say, okay, well, it's obviously in there, guys. I just wanted to point this out because I know there
Mhm.
is a lot of people like me that do role play as that thief, like
Thief.
as
Yeah,
that
yeah,
dude, that klepto that just has to go. I
yeah.
can't. I spend hundreds of hours in Skyrim just going through random houses and random buildings, thieving as much as possible. Like that's what I do. And I love the idea of selling stolen goods. Like it's just like all of that is just interesting to me. And like you said, I wasn't expecting this to be full of random shit like Skyrim. Like that's different. Bethesda's different when it comes to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But even in Outer Worlds, they have little knickknacks or they have weapons, or sometimes you run into an NPC who does actually have a better weapon than what you currently are using, and you've gotten a chance to take it off of him without killing him, right? I don't know. I just thought it was weird that Obsidian didn't have it in this one. I was like, okay, all right. So I just wanted to bring it up here because I know a lot of people are like me. There's probably some people in chat. So you guys didn't go into it thinking that thievery was a thing because it looks like as of right now, it's not a thing in this game in Avowed. So anyways, just wanted to bring it up. Weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting,
Yeah. Got God Emperor Sofa King, the one and only God Emperor Sofa King. Attention, ladies and gentlemen. We are late in the show, but the God Emperor Sofa King says that doesn't stop me. First of all, he just buys himself a little single ticket to the Speculators Hype Train. That's right. Welcome aboard, God Emperor Sofa King. keeping us ad-free in 2025. Hashtag no beans around here. We don't discriminate. Those single tickets are welcome. But then he turns around and says, I got this new car back here that it's all to myself. I'm kind of lonely. I'm going to go ahead and get some more people aboard the hype train. That's right. So he went ahead and dropped a 5 bomb. He got on the court with the easy 5 layup, everybody. The God Emperor Sofa King will not be outdone tonight, getting us a full car of people and getting us up to the nice, easy Mach 3.0 with a little extra credit on top. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. Buckle up. We're almost done, but buckle up anyways. I don't want to lose you this late in the show, everybody. Thanks, God Emperor Sofa King. Appreciate you, brother, so much.
Choo-choo, choo-choo. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Choo-choo. Ha, 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 ha. I love it.
We also have a super chat from Decado.
Oh, you got Decado super chat? I didn't see that.
Sir.
Oh, there it is. Yep, go ahead.
Pong, I would love for $5. Decado said, "Pong, I would love them to sweet talk Phil into another Icewind Dale."
Oh, now you're talking BMFs, Neverwinter Nights, Icewind Dale, all the good classic CRPGs. Decado, you know I would be down, brother. Especially with the way CRPGs are right now. Why not? Why not? Again, they make them nonstop over on PC. They've got to be relatively cheap to make, unless you're BG3 levels. Like, again, that's different. Right. That was another level.
Like, Larian, I wonder how that worked out with them to make Baldur's Gate 3, right? With the licensing. Just because Baldur's Gate, the game originally, those other two were developed by BioWare.
Yeah.
Right? So it had to have been the Dungeons and Dragons
I think they were
approaching somebody, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know if it'd be up to Phil for Icewind Dale.
No, it probably wouldn't be, but Icewind Dale being a lesser one.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to make it, I'm sure they probably
I'm sure they could make something work. Neverwinter Nights for me, please.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the MMO that all you guys have been playing for some years now. The Neverwinter. I'm talking about Neverwinter Nights.
Yes.
Number 2 was already made by Obsidian. Neverwinter Nights 2 was made by Obsidian. Neverwinter Nights 1 was made by BioWare.
Correct.
So
just think about the legacy between those two studios, bro. What they've touched. It's crazy, bro.
Microsoft pretty much has the Interplay legacy.
Yes.
That they've acquired separately. Bethesda, Obsidian, and In Exile.
Yep. God, I
know, man.
All 3 of those groups form a CRPG.
Who would you put in charge? Would Todd be in charge of it, or would you put like Brian Fargo?
Yeah, no, I'd be Todd's got his babies, right?
Or Urgus, what's his name? Urgus Fairquat.
Who's got the most? Who's got? I probably Fargo.
I don't know how to say his name.
Fargo. I'd probably put Fargo.
Brian Fargo.
It depends. I guess I'd be up for anybody from any of the vets over any of those guys, because they've got so many people at the top that have been there at all 3 of those studios.
I know Bethesda didn't come from Interplay, but they bought like the Fallout franchise.
Right. They bought
because they were fans of Fallout franchise,
which is create a CRPG group.
Yeah.
Make another Fallout CRPG. Now that I got the IP, just make another one. Who cares, right? Who cares? Just do it. Like, again, Todd's not going to have a problem with a CRPG version of Fallout now at this point. Just make a CRPG version.
Yep. Go for it, man.
Go for it.
Yeah, Wasteland 3 was amazing.
Yeah, Wasteland. I love Wasteland 2. Yeah, as well. Wasteland's crazy. Anybody who doesn't play CRPGs misses out on some great storylines and some weird shit that you don't get in any other RPG.
Oh yeah, there was a scene in like a seedy hotel in Wasteland 3 with like whoa, okay, this is a little crazy.
In Exile is nuts. Exile is nuts. Like, they are awesome. That's why I can't wait to see Clockwork Revolution and what they do with it. Holy shit, it's gonna be nuts. Anyways, we're off track. But anyways, I just that'd be great, Decado. I would love to see that happen. All right, so I guess that's it. So I just want to let everybody know that Avowed wasn't going to have thievery and stealing, so that kind of sucks. And I did see some people in the chat say, "Yeah, we'd like to do that too." So, but it is what it is. Todd would be my last pick to be in charge of. To be honest, no slight. Antonio, don't be coming after God. Don't be coming after God.
Yeah, I mean, for that, I would rather one of the CRPG
Yes, the vets. Yeah,
guys, and that would
Todd's
be
got his specialty.
and that would be In Exile actually more so even I think
Mm,
than Obsidian. I mean,
probably.
Obsidian though they do Neverwinter Nights too.
Yep.
And they do Pillars, So I mean they also did Tyranny, which is another one on PC. Yeah, they got they got the I don't know. Whoever you could put what's his name? Is it Urgus? How do you say the Obsidian guy's
Oh, I know
name?
who you're talking about. You're probably close. I know who you're talking about.
It's Urgus Furquat or something like that, or Brian Fargo,
Yeah.
or would be the best choices probably.
Well, and Obsidian did Knights of the Old Republic too. So
Yeah,
I mean, again, one of the greatest games of all time.
Obsidian
So, Obsidian's ridiculous.
founder.
All right, Mav, real quick. Let's before we get everybody out of here tonight, and want to respect you. Yeah, New Vegas 2 is overdue, Nate Dogg. Something.
Urquhart.
Urquhart?
Urquhart. I don't know. Fergus, not Urgus. Fergus.
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 Okay. All right. Yeah, put him in charge. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Yeah, New Vegas 2 is overdue. Some type of spin-off for Fallout would be great right now. I can't believe nothing's happening, but I would take another one if Obsidian was doing it for sure. Mav, real quick, let's touch on the Game Awards, and I actually want to touch on the Golden Stick Awards, Joystick Awards, which came out today too as well. Just real quick. Again, I don't really have a whole lot of interest in talking about the Game Awards. I told you guys that after, I guess, what was an old rule, but suddenly they put an emphasis on it. I guess DLC and expansions have always been eligible for Game of the Year, Mav. Just never talked about. This is supposedly the deal now. And they just made an emphasis this year because it just so happens that Elden Ring, and Shadow of the Erd Tree was up this year. So whatever. But I did want to talk about it a little bit because there, like you said, there are some interesting things. And I want to start with the Golden Joystick Awards, which were announced today, man. I don't know if you saw any of this, and I'm not going to cover everything here. Okay. But I just want to, let's talk about some of the big stuff here real quick. So best storytelling, 1000X Resist was up, which is another great indie game. I actually want to play that one. Amio, which I had never heard of, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Laura Lee and the Laser Eyes, which I've heard of, and Tactical Breach Wizards, which I haven't heard of. Now, the thing I like about the Golden Joystick Awards is they bring a lot of PC games in here. The thing with the Keeleys is he calls it the Video Game Awards, but it's pretty console centric. Like if your game isn't on console, you're not going to get a whole lot of attention from the Keeleys. Like that's Keeley's things, right? Whereas the Golden Joysticks focuses on the whole industry because there's a ton of PC games that don't come to console that are deserving of awards too. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth won best storytelling. This is where best multiplayer game. So Abiotic Factor, don't know what that one is. EA Sports College Football, which got snubbed from the Game Awards as well, which I thought from the sports category, Mav. How did college football not get in the sports category?
I have no idea. Like
how?
Because the voters, the people that vote.
Yeah, because the great people that vote. Helldivers 2, Sons of the Forest, Tekken 8, and the finals. Helldivers 2 won this one. But this was great to see the finals in here. I think Helldivers 2 is a great choice. Again, loved Helldivers 2 as the best multiplayer game. I thought that was a great choice. So again, they deserve it. And like I said, to see the finals in here and get acknowledged as well, which was awesome. That was a huge hit early in the year. Like I said, this is the stuff you don't see at the Keeleys. This is why I bring up the Golden Joysticks. Just kind of give you guys an idea. I don't think the Golden Joysticks is perfect. There's a lot of head scratchers in here as well. But I think there are other award shows that just, again, you got to, everybody just knows the Video Game Awards, right? That's all there is to a lot of people. When you look at other selections from other places like the BAFTAs or from the Golden Joystick, you see how you could do things differently if you were Keeley, if you really wanted to. They actually have a best game expansion in the Golden Joysticks. Ding, 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 ding. World of Warcraft, A War Within, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, God of War, Ragnarok, Valhalla. These actually take games from last year as well, too, by the way. Destiny 2, Alan Wake 2 Expansion Pass, Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. Elden Ring, Shadow of Erd Tree wins. Ding, perfect, the way it should be, right? Again, I'm just pointing this stuff out. Best indie game, went to Balatro, of course. Animal Well. Listen to this list. That's the other thing that we've talked about, Mav. The Keeleys. Why does Jeff not expand his list? There are so many video games nowadays. It's deserving. There's plenty of people. Listen to this list. Best indie game. Animal Well, Arco, Balatro, Beyond Galaxyland, Conscript, Indica, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Thank goodness you're here. The Plucky Squire, Ultros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games were nominated. Now, Balatro won. Like, he should expand out. He doesn't have to do it. Yep. Studio of the Year. Studio of the Year only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 studios. Like, you don't have to make everything uniform. Like, this is the thing I don't understand. Hold on. I just want to scroll down here. Where was it? Okay. The interesting one, console game of the year. They actually have a section for console games specifically in the Golden Joysticks map. Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, which got snubbed from the Keeleys as well, which a lot of people, again, not my type of game, but a lot of people thought it was deserving, got snubbed. Dragon's Dogma 2 and Helldivers 2. And they gave it to Helldivers 2 here, Bath.
Right.
Helldivers 2 is being supported by PC.
Yeah.
Let technically, sure, it's on a console. But is it being supported by that console?
Nope.
According
to the actual reports of player data.
Yeah, I was like, no, like that. I mean, you could have given it to any of the other ones here, but like that one didn't make any sense. Like, I understand it was like a big winner, but not really. I mean, again, Ultimate Game of the Year. That's their Game of the Year award. Ultimate Game of the Year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 nominees. Yeah, 12. Appropriate for this type of year.
Yeah.
Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Silent Hill 2, which a lot of people think got snubbed, Helldivers 2, Black Myth Wukong, Balatro, Metaphor Refantasio, Satisfactory, Tekken 8, Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Wow.
Dragon Age The Veilguard got in there because they opened it up. Okay. Animal Well. Now, the other one that you talked about, right? So Balatro and Animal Well got in there. Winner, Black Myth Wukong. I just want to point to
the only issue, like, because I think it's mostly voted by just players or something for Gold Joystick. I don't know how it works. I think it's voted by players because I saw
the BAFTAs are in industry, right? The BAFTAs are peers.
Yeah,
those are peers. Those are devs, publishers, etc. Golden Joysticks, is it mostly players?
I think it's players. I saw a post from what's the name of the developer again? Thinking the fans of Black Myth Wukong developer.
Oh yeah. I can't think of the name. Anyways, they got a big announcement coming up, by the way.
Game Science.
Game Science. Yeah. They got a big announcement there. They said they got an announcement coming up. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be the Xbox announcement. So, for Black Myth Wukong finally. How are they voted on? Are you looking it up right now?
I'm looking for the post that they had made because they had mentioned something about it, and it was from their Twitter account, but I can't find their Twitter account now.
Yeah, they are voted on by the public, including gamers and fans of the video game industry.
I would say, like, only thing is, like, a more popular game is going to have a higher chance in that case of winning, I think, at times.
They do have a journalistic panel as well. So, but yes, the players, it's most part, it's fans. Yes.
Like, absolutely. I think, like, there's a way to do, like, a good balance of everything that nobody's been able to figure out yet.
Right. My big thing was expanding out some of the categories, right? I don't know why Keely's against this. Like, it doesn't make any sense. His show would be bigger. It would include more people. Like, I just, there's no downside to expanding out. I look at some of these categories that the Gold Joysticks had, and I was like, Jesus.
That's time for advertisements.
Yeah, which he raised this year. $500,000 for full commercial.
Oh, wow.
Don't ever tell me it's not about the bunny, bro. Just don't tell
Like,
me. It's
I
about
mean,
the
I
bunny.
got my like the words are irrelevant for the Game Awards.
Correct.
They mean something to the people that win them, but as an actual
Yeah.
word, that for me they hold no meaning. Um, Golden
Correct.
Joystick does better job, it seems like, at incorporating games that are more important across the board for the industry with the categories and all these other kind of things. It's interesting they include the games from last year also.
Mm.
It seems like they put together the list most of it, and then the public kind of votes, right? I think the Keeleys have no rules. He just says, "Hey, what do you?" Sends it out to the games media, and they just like vote on whatever the fuck they want to. And it was like when they came back and they saw, I think that Elden Ring, um, Shadow of Erdtree was a Game of the Year nominee.
Mm.
That they had then updated the site with that rule,
Hmm.
right? Just to say, "Hey, this is a thing, just let everybody know ahead of time," right? To get ahead of it, and then when we see the nominees and you see that that's there, right? And it's not just about any one game getting there as over others, but if you're only having 6, right, then your criteria should be pretty tight. It's in a year like 2024,
Right.
and this is why you have more categories. This is why you have more things, right?
Correct.
Even
Correct.
if they have to do a little separate show where they go across more awards, right, and stuff like that, like adding credibility, but it'll never be credible until they can actually find a way to incorporate all the games for these.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's always pointless.
Right.
And you literally like 6 weeks of the year is cut off, and they never get considered at the Keeleys for the next year. And they can say, "Oh, well, they're eligible to the following year." They never get considered.
Right.
Like the games media just doesn't think of it. And I think the Keeleys is more of a representation of how out of touch the eh, the games media
Mm.
community is from the actual gaming community,
Yep.
right? It's just it, that's what it is. It's a marketing show that I enjoy watching because of the reveals, right? Um, I feel happy for people when they win their awards because I like to see them happy, right?
Yep.
But as a legitimate actual award, it's act for me, they're meaningless. If you don't incorporate all the games and it's mainly about the advertising and you don't even have proper genres and categories, it's always going to be, well, I won that. That was cool, right? But you know, does it actually mean anything? What does it mean? It's the most watched award show. That's what it means. That's the only reason it has any weight.
Oh yeah, 100 million
It doesn't
viewers
have
right
any
there.
weight beyond anything else for
Right.
me, you know?
Yep. What did you guys covered it, the Keeleys, on you said on FSP. What were just give me a couple of things that you stood out to you as far as either snubs or just what you found amusing
Well,
about some of the yeah,
in this year for
nominations.
the game of the year, I mean, it wasn't super surprising that Black Myth Wukong was there because
Hmm.
it's so popular,
Yep.
but I am surprised at the, scores that it got from the games media, who's the same people voting for the game of the year, putting it there. What does that mean for other games,
Mm.
right, in the future,
Mm.
right? Because I think it's mainly there because of its popularity. Um, Overall, it doesn't mean it's not. Sure, it's a great game, but you know, you could have seen Silent Hill 2 there, right? Or you could have seen um like Animal Well there, or you could have seen Dragon's Dogma 2 there. You could have. I mean, there's probably about like 5 games I could just ramble off the top of my head that seems like were more critically rec- received better than Black Myth Wukong, but and which is baffling because this is a media voted award,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So that was just weird. Uh, Beyond that, do I care that it's nominated? Not really. I think they achieved some great things, and if they want to get if they win an award, cool for them. Um, but it was strange based on who the panels are, the judges, and how they viewed other games with their critiques.
Well,
It
then
doesn't make sense.
many of them afterwards rolled out the same headlines. They got marching orders, and
Yeah,
because many of the journalists, so it sounds like a little bit of infighting. It sounds like maybe it got enough votes from others because if you remember, there was backlash to Black Myth
yeah,
Wukong for different reasons. Um, as dumb as it was, again, I have to laugh at the nonsense out here in the video game industry sometimes. But there was backlash at it from some industries, and it was funny because there
yeah,
was about 7 or 8 that ran the same headline after the nominations were made. Uh, Calling out Black Myth Wukong for being the lowest
yeah.
scoring nomination of all time for the Game Awards.
Mhm.
So it seems like there might have been some infighting, but there was enough that got it through and pushed it through to
Yeah.
the final section, right?
Which,
Uh,
over some of the other games that came out this year is just kinda shocking for me. I
yeah,
think games that came out earlier in the year, unless it's, like, clear, hands down, like a, "Wow, this is probably gonna win" type game,
yeah.
get overlooked more at times, I think. Um, Also, another category that was really strange to me
Mhm.
was ongoing game this
Okay.
year
Yep.
because okay, first so well, but I've talked numerous times about the whole Shadow of the Erdtree Tree thing, right?
Here,
And
here.
how
Let me read off the best ongoing
okay,
game for anybody who doesn't know. Best ongoing game this year, chat was Destiny. Or nominations are Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. So there.
right.
Go ahead.
So I didn't really have an issue with Destiny being there just because like the final shape, a lot of the community loved it. Uh Also critically, it was like in the nines and stuff. So I know the community, the
How they
Bungie
treat
is
their community.
right.
Mm,
I agree
okay.
100%.
Anyways, sorry.
But the community
Yeah.
that I've seen, I'm not really in touch with the Destiny community, but for the most part, I've seen them say the final shape was amazing, right? And they loved it and all this other kind of stuff. So for that reason alone, I'm like, okay, whatever. Now last year, I didn't like the fact that Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty was put in the best ongoing game category,
Should have been game
right?
of the year, obviously.
Right. So like, what are the rules here? Is an expansion get considered as a full game, or apparently there's no rules, right? So
Supposedly that's legit. Yeah.
Shadow of Erdtree, according to last year's rules, should be in this category, but it's not.
Mhm.
So if it's the game of the year, but it's also an ongoing game based on last year's criteria, has it not in best ongoing game? So again, this is why we need more categories with clear set guidelines, right? With maybe a large selection of games that fit the criteria of what can be voted on. And I don't think they have that. So with that being said, we have ongoing game now includes uh Helldivers 2,
Mhm.
which as far as I know, that game released this year. So like when does a game change from a new game to an ongoing game? Like now I know it's a games of service game that is a
Oh,
multiplayer game,
1000%.
right? But
Mhm.
if a game launches as a multiplayer game, is it all of a sudden just an ongoing game in the category? Because usually that reward is meant to be for games that have like been good to the community over a long period of time and keep their player base for a long period of time and keep growing and doing different things for like different years and all this other kind of stuff. And in fact, I saw on the Golden Joystick Awards for the same category, I think it was Minecraft that won. Whereas in this category here, there's not even one Microsoft game. When that is probably, I mean, it's one of the things that they're known for they do the best. Forza Horizon 5, Minecraft. You could look at Diablo, which I think that one's in there, right? Diablo is no,
Yes.
Diablo was okay, so
Yes.
Diablo was nominated. Okay, I
Yep,
take
it
it
is.
back.
Yep.
Um, Sea of Thieves, Halo Imp. I mean, you could go to, there's probably like
Forza Horizon.
yeah, Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsport at this point with all the updates they've been doing as well. Like
Correct.
Like, there's probably, like, Warzone, you could put Warzone in there, like, there's probably, like, 20 different
Right.
things you could go out there and put over a game that just came out this year,
Mhm.
right? I agree that it's good that they've had a great first year with good content, but at some point, a game should not be considered for best ongoing game when it's still in its first year of release. That should be the content roadmap of a release schedule, like, within a multiplayer game, period, right? So, let's give ongoing games, like, hey, at least 2 years, right? Not release that same year. I find that just a little odd, because I don't know what the category means anymore.
Yeah, no.
Literally, you could pick any multiplayer game that
It does.
released this year and put it there, you know?
Well, this is my problem with these limited categories because again,
Yeah.
the, what- you just rotate in and out. Like again, I mean,
Yeah, like
why
Fall
why
same
why
with
is
Fallout
Fallout
76.
76 not in
Yeah.
here?
Elder
Fa-
Scrolls
Fallout
Online, like, yeah.
76 has had one of the biggest turnarounds in the history of fucking video games, especially when you're just looking at online games, multiplayer games. The turnaround that Fallout 76 has had is incredible. And sure, it benefited from a great show that popped up a lot of popularity, but that team has been doing nothing but improving that game since day one and stuck by it since day one. Xbox stuck by the team even after they bought it when the question was asked internally, do we keep Fallout 76 going? Is it worth it? They did. And now look at it. Like that's the one that boggles me. Like, but are you just gonna pick each year and rotate out ESO for Final Fantasy 14 next year? Is that what you're gonna do? Like, this is the stuff that just makes zero sense to me. Like, it
Yeah.
just and like you said, Helldivers 2 being in here when it's the first year it was released. Well, why isn't Pal
What
World in
what
here
were
then?
the nominations again?
Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2.
Okay.
I and again, I love Helldivers 2, but like you
Yeah.
said, Mav, same year it was
An
out.
amazing game. Yeah, 100%. I think it's great. I think it's
It's a great
awesome.
game.
But I wouldn't say Pal World should be able to be there either. You know
Right.
what I mean? Even though
That's what
they've
I'm
had
saying.
great content updates, like,
Right.
next year, yeah, sure. You know?
But why are we celebrating the old shit too? Like I just like it's hard. That's why I say expand out. Like you have to
Yeah.
have more nominations, Keely. Because again, I look at this category, I'm like, Jesus, bro, nowadays, like you said, Sea of
Yeah.
Thieves, like I said, Forza Horizon, like you said, even Forza Motorsport too, right? Like yeah, not everybody can get nominated. Not everybody can be a winner, but I'm just saying, really? You threw
Yeah.
Helldivers 2 same year in there? Really?
Yeah,
And again,
Cyber Gunner, No Man's Sky, yeah,
I
could have
do
been there.
question Destiny 2, but of course, like you said, it's the reviewers and all the reviewers really liked it. But I question that as best ongoing game
Yeah.
for what they've done to that community. Like this was the last ditch effort that they had to have to come out with that expansion because of what they've done. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think there's more deserving. Like again, Fallout 76 should be in here 1000%. ESO has
Yeah.
maintained quality every single year. Like, I don't know. Just
This is why this is an example of why this award exists. It or
right,
should exist, right?
right.
Like, you wouldn't give this award to Fallout 76 the year it launched.
Oh no.
No, hell no, you wouldn't,
No,
right?
you wouldn't give it year two, you
No.
wouldn't give it to it.
But,
Jesus.
like, with how much
Yes.
support they've done
Yes.
and grown the community and
Right.
changed things and done amazing stuff, now you'd be like, "Wow, they've really supported everything and done great." Like, that's deserving, with all the content, all the updates, like, that's the definition, like, not the
Yeah.
year it released, you know? Like, I don't think it shouldn't be rewarded maybe in the future if they keep doing great, but, like, there's other categories where a new game would better fit in, like, the multiplayer, obviously, they're there, action game, you could put it there, you could do, like, several different categories. I would even argue that Helldivers 2 could get nominated for Game of the Year over Black Myth Wukong.
Right.
Like, there's several different, things, but, like, ongoing doesn't really make sense,
No.
and it all could and I'm not blaming any one person on this, like, for because it's a bunch of random journalists that pick these games, but the issue is that they have to set some ground rules and criteria for what these categories
Right.
mean, and they
Nothing
need to
beats anything, man.
expand to more categories to be able to fit the different diversity in the games industry, and not just cram stuff into the few that you have to hope it works out, right? Because these journalists are wanting to reward their favorite games. They're wanting to give them, uh, praise for like this was my favorite game, or like they may not even know. They just may see the fucking category of best ongoing game. Well, what games were there? Oh yeah, they'll ever choose multiplayer. Oh yeah, this is this. Like and they put them on their list or whatever. I don't know how the process works, but at the end of the day, like they don't have like a select. It doesn't seem like there's a curated selection for them to choose from that fit within the category. So if there is, it's even worse. If there is actually a curated list of like a big list for each category of games that would meet the consideration of deserving of a potential award, if there is, and these are in there, like the expansion is in there for game of the year, and like a brand new game is like is there for ongoing game in the same year of release, like, then that's like a concern there. So I have to just assume with what happened last year and this year that there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just whatever there's no rules. It's just whatever the games media just decides to vote on, and whoever has the most votes or whatever gets a place on the nominations list. So at the end of the day, there needs to be some structure to it. There needs to be guidelines. There needs to be more candidates. Across the board, and there has to be more categories. There has to be more categories across the board. That way, everything can get their awards based on what they're deserving of, right? And it'd be more meaningful for it'd be more meaningful for the people that are winning because it actually stand for something.
Right.
And it also would be better to establish this award show as a legitimate show. So that way it's more than just about the spectacle of it. It's about the awards actually meaning something. And then you could take it further and move it to January 31st or February, early February, and you could actually make it the most big. You could make this the Grammys or the Oscars of video games, which is what he wants to do, right? But
Well,
if you're having it in November, you ain't gonna do that.
well, yeah, isn't and he's not going to do it this shit. I've got. I mean, I agree with you on. That's why I asked you because I knew you guys had covered. I've got one. I got one last one here, and this goes back to my original rant about the Game Awards when he did this for Elden Ring. Now, again, supposedly this has been always a rule. I call bullshit because otherwise, Phantom Liberty would have been in Game of the Year last year for how many people fell back in love with Cyberpunk 2077 due to the expansion and due to all the changes they made in that game. But best RPG. This is what I talk about. Not only did Shadow of the Erd Tree steal a nomination from somebody for Game of the Year, but it also stole a nomination here for Best RPG. So Best RPG categories: Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor Refantasio. And again, I've already stated my opinion on the Final Fantasies. Technically, I don't think they should be there. Okay. Now, people are going to disagree because they changed the entire game. It's a full blooded remake. They turned one game into 3 games. It's all different now. They still live off of the Final Fantasy name and the original nostalgia that people have for that game, considering it one of the greatest franchises and one of the greatest single games, I should say, not even franchise, but single game in the history of gaming. They still live off of that when they redo the game, even if it's a full-blooded remake. I still have problems with it being up as new games every single fucking year that comes out. Okay, but I've already talked about that. So now my focus on Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree. Unicorn Overlord should be here, Matt.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, Vanillaware comes out with a game once every 8 to 10 years. We get a Vanillaware game. Unicorn Overlord is one of the greatest new tactics games to come out in a long ass time. And it doesn't get appreciated in the section that it should. I could argue with some people and say it should be in Game of the Year instead of Erd Tree, but I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to say that it definitely 1000% should be in the RPG section. And it's not. Why?
Where's strategy? Is it in the strategy?
It's in the strategy game.
Okay.
It is in the strategy, but it should be an RPG. It 1000% should be in the RPG too as well, Mav.
Yeah, I mean, it's the
It
definition of
should be.
a old
This is the problem I have. A team like Vanillaware, which is a beloved team, by the way, again, makes some masterclass games, right? If you play Vanillaware games, you understand. But doesn't come out with new games all the time, is snubbed because a game that already got nominated and won basically every single Game of the Year award you could previously, a beloved studio and From Software gets to come back in because they put out an expansion. This is why I just don't care about these anymore. This is why I think it completely disrespects what Keighley says he's going for here. And I think it makes these things worthless because I that to me is the wrong. That Unicorn Overlord should be here, should be in here in Best RPG. Yes, like Mav just pointed out, it is in Best Sim Strategy Game. So thank God it's there. But that team should also get Best RPG because it's an RPG. It should be up for Best RPG. It should be nominated, and they're not going to have that nomination. And I think that's what's sad. So, but I agree with all your other ones. Again, we're going to be co-streaming it here, obviously.
Yeah.
You know,
The fun spectacle every
or there's going to be having. I'm just going to be looking forward to, you know, obviously all the announcements that are going to be there. I can't wait to see what Keighley's going to get, what people are going to buy $500,000 spots for the commercials at his award show, but it's going to be interesting. But I'm assuming we're still going to get a ton of cool announcements there. Supposedly Xbox is going to be there with something. I had a little speculation. We'll throw it out there right now. I want you guys to think on. There's been more movement in the back end of things with the Transformer games being relisted yet again. And that's on Steam this time, I think, around Mav, that they got relisted on Steam, or the back end stuff is done. They're not actually relisted yet, but there's back end work that's being done on the Transformer games. There was rumors that Microsoft, Xbox has 2 potentially Transformer games in the works. Don't know if that's real or not, but man, oh man, what a place to show off a tease for one of those Transformer games that you got in the works and then go ahead and announce that as part of the back catalog for ABK, you got the licenses back and you're putting the Transformer games back live after all these years, along with Marvel Ultimate Alliance or whatever else you want to throw there. But wouldn't that be a pretty damn cool Game Awards announcement? I think so.
It would be, especially if they have some cool updates for those games.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Bring back open up the servers, bring back the multiplayer.
Yeah. I mean, last year was Blade got announced. It blew my mind. You know, so anything can happen. I think it's definitely worth a watch, and we will be co-streaming it here, as always, on the Fun Speculation Network. And it just happens to be every year. It's a Thursday, Pong. It just works out perfectly for us.
It does
for a PM and the PM special.
It's December 12th, Ghost Wolf. By the way, December. 12th.
We'll have some family from the Fun Spec fam probably be joining us as well.
Absolutely.
We got a couple super chats to get to. Pong.
Get them.
Shout out to James. Appreciate you, James, with a $5 super chat. It says, just gotta say, you guys are great. Love listening to you at work. Inspired me to look into starting my own podcast. Keep up the great work. James. Oh, dude, that's awesome to hear, bro. Do it, man. Do it. And have fun with it.
That's how we started, bro. Mav started on his own, right? I started watching Mav, actually. It was like way early before I even knew him. But I was watching other podcasts during the pandemic. I never was going to podcast, James, ever. But we started watching during the pandemic because I had nothing better to do. And then just, again, made the choice. Got invited on the show and went on, had a blast, and then just decided to try it out myself. So that's how it works sometimes, man. But much love to you, man. The fact that we inspire you at all humbles, like that's like, it doesn't matter, like legit, like that's crazy to me. It's still crazy to me. It's crazy to me how many people we have listening to us at any given point. Like it's just so cool to think about. So appreciate that, James. Warms the heart, man.
Absolutely. And like for me, I didn't even know the whole YouTube thing. Community was really a big ass thing. I just listened to gaming podcasts mainly on audio, and I saw that there was a couple of shows that were, oh wow, there's people that are from the community that have their own podcast too. I'm gonna do that. Like, I think it's fun. I'm not doing anything else, and I wanted to do something like that. Man, it was bad. go back and watch some of those first episodes of Xbox Ultimate. It's just me, you know. It's but that's how you start and just have fun with it and like just let things turn into what they turn into, bro. Organic.
Yes,
Um,
organic.
organic. Shout out to Alvin, hit us with a $2 super chat. Says Witcher 3 Game of the Year 2015, then Blood and Wine Best RPG
Yep,
2016.
yep.
I didn't remember that, but yeah, they should have had that expansion category back then too.
It should have been game of the year for 2016 as well, Melvin.
Yeah, why not? You know? Yeah, they could have had Blood and Wine be nominated for Game of the Year
Yeah,
with today's rules, right?
supposedly. And
Yeah.
I don't know why it wouldn't be, because people consider that one of the best expansions of all fucking time. So if
Yep.
Erdtree is, that should be. But anyways, like I said, that's why it's weird how this shit just randomly changes.
Yeah.
So
It's just, there's no rhyme or reason, bro.
no,
It's just up in the air.
nope. Are we all caught up?
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right. Well, Matt, do you got anything else you want to touch on? But we're at the 3 hour mark. You good?
We're good, bro.
Okay.
We're
Cool.
we are good to go.
Perfect. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. Again, nothing but love and respect to each and every single one of you for jumping in here on a Thursday night with me and Mav. Love to see everybody, all the familiar faces, man. This is why we do it. So, again, it's never expected, but always appreciated. And the extra special, the super chats and all that kind of stuff that we have a good time with. Listen, that again, never expected, but always appreciated. And you guys turn up for us, and we love it. So, it's part of therapy for me personally each and every week to do these shows, because I just come here and get to let everything else in real life go and just talk with some of my favorite people in the whole wide world, including this dude right here, the one and only Mav, who I just absolutely love, man. He's a brother from another. So thank you all for being a part of it. And listen, y'all, let's get you out of here. So Mav, the one and only Mavarino, the one and only Fun Speculation. You're gonna be doing some more streaming, sir. You're gonna be getting live
Yeah,
and
man.
raw. Xbox
Yeah.
Ultimate tomorrow night. What else you got going on?
Yeah, we'll be playing. Well, first off, yeah, we have XUP tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. But yeah, I'm planning on maybe playing some more Flight Sim or Stalker 2 this weekend on stream.
Nice.
We'll see if there's any kind of crazy stuff that happens as well. You never know, you might get a solo stream for some gaming conversations on a Mavcast. But we'll also have FSP return on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, as usual. And then back here for Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But yeah, it's always a good time. To audio listeners as well, appreciate every single
Yeah.
audio listener out there that doesn't watch on YouTube or partake with the live chats and stuff. I know you guys are out there. Appreciate everybody who listens. Anybody here that is live, if you like it, share it out, sub, notification bell, all that stuff greatly helps us grow, helps people find us. Audio listeners, as well, if you leave reviews on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you prefer to listen, that greatly helps us too. So appreciate the support. Always appreciated, never expected.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you, Matt, for all you do behind the scenes, and Caitlin for all that you do as well. Just love you both, and appreciate it so much for making this possible on this channel. You guys have just created a family, man, and can't thank you guys enough for everything that you've done. So 1,000%.
Aw,
Oh, I know. Love you
brother
guys.
Pong.
That's right. Love you
Love
guys.
you too, man.
Listen, everybody, you guys know how to find me. It's Pog Soul everywhere. Formerly known as Twitter, the Xbox, Steam, GOG, Epic, everywhere. No, I'm not going anywhere else as far as social media goes. So just find me there. I will follow you back. Otherwise, you guys know the drill. I will be attempting to make it as per usual to Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night if I can, whether I'm late or whatever. I try my hardest on Friday nights. So be there for that. Like Mav said, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. And then, of course, Saturday morning, as of right now, we are going to have living split screen. Steele's going to let me know for sure at some point. He's got some family stuff going on right now. So again, we are going to try to go live on Saturday morning. I think it's a go right now, but again, keep your eyes and ears open for it. So 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, live, raw, and cut, living split screen, all one word. Myself, my brother from another, Steel Rain. If we do go live, it will be 3+ hours. So buckle up and get ready. You know how we get down on Saturday mornings. We love you all that join us there on those days. And then, of course, Sunday night, Saturday night, Jesus, Saturday night, We should be back this week for the Shop podcast as well. PTK Blam has a bunch of stuff going on last weekend, but we should be back. And we're going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time on Saturday night. The best way to end your Saturday night, just a chill show. Chill 2 hours. Have us on in the background while you're playing vids. The Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself, and we usually have a guest or two. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. Next week, it starts all over again. Tuesdays, it's Double Barrel Gaming, the channel, Boomstick, the man, 5 days a week, but Tuesdays, all good things green, Xbox Factor podcast. Be there for that crew, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. And then, of course, my week, God willing. Actually, we won't next week. We will be off next week, because next week is Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah, we won't.
Next week.
Okay, bring back here next week.
Yeah, no, we will. I just popped in my head, too. Next week is Thursday.
Gobble.
Yep, gobble. Thanksgiving, so we will not be here next Thursday. So, so that won't happen.
That correction.
Yeah, no problem.
So 3-Bit said the Game Awards are on his birthday, which also means that the Game Awards on Psycho's birthday, because they have the same birthday.
That's right.
It'll be interesting. Maybe
maybe
they'll get a great game announcement for their birthday.
They will. There'll be announcements there. There's gonna be something cool there. There is every year. That's a reason why to watch them. But that'll be dope. Yeah, if neither one of you can't join us, that I totally understand. It's birthday. That's cool. Not a problem.
I don't understand. It's just another day.
Anyways, love you all again. Nothing but love and respect to each and every one of you. Like Mav said, whether you're here live, whether you listen to us in the future, 5 minutes, whether you spend the whole time with us, it doesn't matter. Again, never expected, always appreciated. Thank you all for being here. You guys make the show go as much as us. It is the golden age of gaming, people. So please enjoy your weekend. If you're already into your Friday, hope you have a great rest of your Friday. If you're already moving into Saturday and thinking about the weekend, hey, congrats to you. I got another full day tomorrow, but whatever it is, play what you love what you play. And I'll talk to you all real soon. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Bye, everybody. Peace out.